Hi, I'm Lindsey.
And I'm Connor.
And this is My Girlfriend Explains, very complicated pop culture thing to me, the boyfriend who doesn't know anything about what is going on in the world.
And I'm the boyfriend who doesn't know anything that's going on in the
And
world.
I get to be the girlfriend, and it's very exciting.
Can we play the clip of Drake and Josh?
On condition, what? I get to be the boyfriend.
Probably not. How are you doing today, Connor?
I'm good. I'm feeling really good. It's finally cooling off in Los Angeles, and I'm really enjoying that. It's not as hot as it used to be. When our second summer is almost over. We get a second summer in Los Angeles every year in October.
We get 9 months of summer in Los Angeles. To be the most boring person in the entire world and complain about the weather. It is summer for 9 months. I went for a walk the other day.
Yeah.
It's late October. Hello. I went for a walk around the lake thinking, oh, this will be a lovely little fall time. I can sit down and write in my notebook and wear my sweater and pretend that I go to a Northeastern college.
She came back dripping in sweat.
I was so angry. It took me 2 hours to emotionally calm down from how angry I was.
I couldn't talk to you for a couple minutes.
No,
I
at
knew
the
I had to.
sun.
Yeah.
I'm mad at the sun. Explain that to me. But anyway, I'm very excited to talk about what we are here to talk about today. Connor, do you have any clue?
I have no. You've not given me a hint this week. You usually give me like a little bit of a hint.
I know, I'm getting more secretive
I know
the
you
longer
are.
we date, and I like that. I'm feeling a little sick today, so I'm going to be drinking this yerba mate. So maybe we'll start off like kind of nice and chill, and hopefully by the end we're bouncing off the walls with
That'll be
knives in
great.
our hands.
I can't wait.
Here we go. Listen to this, everybody. It's the sound of me coming alive right there. Connor,
Yes.
let's talk. We've got 11 pages of documents.
Oh, good Lord. What internet drama have you found today?
I swear, one day I'm going to find a topic that is just one article. One in-depth article written by a journalist
Right.
who is credible and works for like The Atlantic. And I'm just going to share what I found with you.
But today is not that
Today
day.
is not that day.
Yeah.
Most of what I found has actually been deleted off of the internet, and so I had to trace it back using the Wayback Machine. I had to consult the forums, and
Not the
it's
forums.
Oh, the forums. Okay, so today we're going to talk about NaNoWriMo and the downfall of a perfectly okay nonprofit organization.
Yeah, I know. We'll get into it, but I know about NaNoWriMo.
Yes,
You and I participated in it last year.
that is
which
what I wrote down.
was the final year that we that it was in existence.
Yes. So I've subtitled this, Darling, you've hardly touched your machine-made expression. So I think that's gives you a little hint at what is to come here.
A good reason, a good thing that makes me a good co-host on this one, to be the boyfriend who doesn't know things, is that I forget stuff very easily.
He really does. Yeah.
And I try to remember things, and I remember important things, but a lot of stuff I forget. So we talked about NaNoWriMo last year when it was closing down.
Yeah.
And I remember knowing the reason. I've totally forgotten why it's shut down.
That's awesome, because also there's a lot more.
Is it
and
really?
because we've kind of waited for the dust to settle a little bit, now we have like, I think, the down low on everything that
the
happened.
full picture. Yeah.
So for those who do not know, i.e. those with friends and jobs and a high yield savings account, NaNoWriMo is short for National Novel Writing Month, and it takes place every November with the express goal to write 50,000 words or a full draft of a book within 30 days.
Yeah.
As one of our ever-observant commenters actually pointed out, there is, in fact, a NaNoWriMo poster on the wall behind Connor.
Oh, someone noticed that.
Because despite being a lifelong writer, mostly for scripts and horse fiction, I participated in NaNoWriMo for the first time in 2023, and Connor and I participated together last year, and I think we will be participating again this year.
Yes, probably on our own time, but yeah.
Yes. I would like to participate with my full ass this year. I would actually like to get 50,000 words done.
I know, and it's tough because I'm in the middle of moving right now, and I feel like for a successful NaNoWriMo, you need to kind of plan a little bit.
We've both got a lot going on. We're both working on a set first thing in November, so it's going to be tough, but I would really like to do it.
We'll figure it out.
So let us know if you're interested in hearing about our little journey.
Yeah, we might turn it into content. Who knows?
NaNoWriMo also refers to a company which was established sort of by accident in 1999 and was dissolved very much on purpose earlier this year in March of 2025. That little fiasco is what we will be discussing today.
Oh boy.
Take a sip. We're not sponsored, but sugar-free yerba mate is the reason I'm alive right now. Okay, so to steal your setup, let me take you back.
Oh boy.
July 1999 was not an easy time to be a freelance writer, you could say, but the young Chris Beatty was hungry, determined, and looking for a way through. He scoured his bookshelf by the light of the San Francisco sun and discovered that many of the most well-known books, The Great Gatsby, for example, were rather slender, averaging at around 50,000 words. This feels doable, right? So I have props. Here's The Great Gatsby.
Right.
I think we all had to read this in 9th grade. And if you were like me, you suffered through it and you did not care. Love you, Fitzgerald, but yikes.
I actually really like The Great Gatsby. I read it a couple of years ago.
We have nothing in common. I don't know how we're doing.
But it's like less than 200
Look at
pages,
that. Yeah,
I think.
like you could, even if you're not a voracious reader, you could pick this up and like you could finish it in a weekend. This that I just got from the library, not so much. It's also called Fragile Earth. So like we're not really reeling in new writers with that one, New Yorker. But yeah, so that is all to say that Chris Beatty was looking at his bookshelf and he was like, this is like about 50,000 words. You can do this in a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a little challenge for him and his friends.
Right. The 1,000-page kind of doorstopper, less so.
Brandon Sanderson? You read one of those books, it counts as 12, by the way.
And he still somehow puts out one a year.
Because it's pretty much all he does, right?
It is.
You know, and then put on his Mormon underwear. Can't let it go. So, armed with this not low but jumpable bar, he challenged 20 of his friends to join him on a quest to write 50,000 words before the end of the month. And the group accepted and began meeting after work at local coffee shops, libraries, and maybe 7-Eleven parking lots to write in caffeinated company. And by the end of the month, only 6 people of the 21 actually completed the challenge, which kind of was a mainstay. A lot of people who participate in NaNoWriMo don't actually complete 50,000 words or finish a full draft of a book, but it gives you a good launching pad at least. And it's good motivation. It's like having a personal trainer or a friend to meet you at the gym.
It does. You know? Yeah, I think a lot of people use NaNoWriMo as a means to do exactly that, is to kind of start a book that they've been meaning to start.
Yeah, and NaNoWriMo, the challenge and the company was not just for professional writers, although professional writers will use it as an, not an excuse, that sounds like negative, but like as a way to like engage with community and like get works in progress off the ground.
Sure.
But it also was really encouraging to amateur writers because having a book created and then published is on so many people's bucket lists, but I think people really struggle to find the time and the energy to write a book, and knowing that there's like a few other people out there in the world who are doing the same thing as you can be very momotivating. So.
Yeah, I agree. I know there's it's big in the fantasy space as well, and to where famous authors participate in it every year. And I think a lot of it, again, we talked about it, everything is marketing. And a lot of writers will use it as kind of a form of marketing. It's like, I'm participating in NaNoWriMo this year. You should too.
Right. And I also noticed when I participated for the first time in 2023, there were a lot of videos posted on YouTube and on Instagram about like, here, like do 1 week of writing with me with NaNoWriMo. And it was very nice. It was nice to see like, oh yeah, like you had an idea a week ago and now you already have like 20,000 words written. Sure. That's amazing. Well, it's very exciting.
It gamifies the experience a little bit.
It gamifies it, which is important. Yeah.
It is, because it's like you're tracking your words. You're supposed to hit a certain threshold. I think it's like 1,666 words every day. Will get you to that 50,000 word mark by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And you track your progress, and there's charts, and you can you can really keep track of everything. And again, it becomes kind of like a game almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the first time in 1999, only 6 people actually completed the challenge, but Chris Beatty felt as though he had stumbled upon something crispy. Here's a quote from him. After the noveling ended on August 1st, my sense of what was possible for myself and those around me was forever changed. If my friends and I could write passable novels in a month, I knew anyone could do it. End quote.
It's kind of a dig at his friend group a little bit.
No,
if we can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, that's kind of true, actually. But I feel that way about my friends too. I'm like, look, if we wrote screenplays, really, anybody who just has a good idea and thinks that they they can. Yeah. I need to stretch out my mouth a little bit. I know this sounds goofy.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Like, I need to do
some
vocal exercises.
Get some TMJ.
Stiff. Yeah.
We're keeping all of this in, by the way.
The next year, 2000, Chris wanted to host the challenge again, but officialize it a little bit.
Okay.
The man's a dreamer. So he had a friend design the website, which answers a lot of the questions I had going into this, which was who designed this fucking website?
Yeah.
His
a
friend did. Yeah, the first time. And he moved the deadline to November because if you'll remember, the first time he did it, it was in July.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved it to November. I could not verify why he did this. I saw some people writing that it had to do with the weather. Like it's easier to convince people to meet up in coffee shops and spend all their time at home to write their novel if the weather is kind of bad. And also it's towards the end of the year
Sure.
where maybe people have time off. It's the things slow down a little bit.
I would sooner put it on that one, which is like,
Yeah.
it's November, the holidays are coming up. We're taking most of this time off anyway.
Right. Or maybe it's just a case of alliteration.
And he said
he's a novelist.
Maybe.
so.
And you said he's in San Francisco at this point, right?
Yeah.
So in San Francisco, big corporate culture, I could see it being that. It's like,
I would say less so in 2000.
Probably,
Definitely now. I think San Francisco, at some point, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say that because we're going to talk about that later. Just think about San Francisco, put it in the back of your mind. I'm coming back to it. Got some thoughts on San Francisco.
oh boy.
Okay, yeah. So either way, he said it in November and launched a Yoo-hoo. Oh my God, I can't get this sentence. Not a Yoo-hoo. Not a Yoo-hoo.
Like the chocolate milk,
He launched a Yoo-hoo.
just into a crowd of people.
Sorry.
Fucking, wham.
But he moved the deadline to November and he launched a Yahoo group to better facilitate communication.
God, a Yahoo group.
How 2000 can we get?
Right. That's
I'm
like,
serious.
That's like having a Facebook group for it. Yeah.
Dude, MySpace me, your ASL, and I'll tramp stamp on your stony visage. That's what I wrote down. They also laid out some official rules. So here were the rules of NaNoWriMo.
Okay.
1. Writing starts at midnight on November 1st and ends at 11:59 p.m. on November 30th local time. 2. No one is allowed to start early and the challenge finishes exactly 30 days from the start point. I'm having such a hard time articulating.
It's okay.
3. Novels must reach a minimum of 50,000 words before the end of November in order to win. These words can either be a complete novel or 50,000 words of the first 50,000 words of a novel to be completed. It just means 50,000 words. If that's a complete draft, amazing. If it's just part of a larger thing, that's also great. But
Yeah.
50,000 words is the point, not necessarily a completed draft. 4. Planning and extensive notes are permitted, but no written material before November 1st can be in the body of the novel. So
Right.
no cheating. 5. Participants' novels can be on any theme, genre, fiction, and language. Everything from fan fiction, which uses characters or settings from the published work of others, to novels in poem format, and metafiction is allowed. So very open on that. This time, in 2000, 140 people participated in the challenge, and 29 actually completed it. Chris thought they were reaching their peak, that maybe in that third year they would hit like 500 Rhymos, people who participate, and call it an experiment well explored. Here's a quote from him. Then the third year came, and we had 10 times that number, and all hell broke loose. Leave it to the novelist to so deliciously foreshadow everything. So 5,000 people signed up in 2001.
That's crazy. It spread like wildfire.
Yes. Beatty attributes this to write-ups in the LA Times and the Washington Post. One of the websites I stumbled upon said it spread like literary Ebola. Get a hold of
That's
yourself.
a quote.
Are you kidding me? NaNoWriMo never ravaged sub-Saharan Africa. Can we get a grip?
What a terrible like
I hate
equation.
writers sometimes. I really do. The Nano website, surprisingly, did not hold up too well with all this new traffic. And so the third year ran more on like a build-it-yourself honor system. And accordingly, by the end of that November, about 700 people claimed to have completed the challenge.
Okay.
So now let's just talk about like the timeline of NaNoWriMo for a little bit. 2002, some technical improvements, but not much. I'm going to tell you right now, that website was never good. Not one iteration of it was ever super usable.
I remember the website. Like, there's never been a year where NaNoWriMo website was like,
No.
oh wow, this works great. I know exactly what's happening.
Wow, it's so nice to look at.
it's so functional.
pleasing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can read the things on the screen.
It's like the Goodreads website. Like, Goodreads is a terrible website.
Can Goodreads hire a millennial
Well, you
to
like,
fix that website?
I remember the reading community at large when Amazon bought Goodreads. We were all like, okay, not great that Amazon has it.
No,
but,
I'm upset,
but maybe they'll fix the website.
But although I would argue that Amazon is not a good website.
It's not awesome.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
It could have It could have really been beautiful. So yeah, 2002, some technical improvements, but not much. Also, media attention from NPR, the peak of pretentious media.
Yes.
I love you, NPR, but you know what you're doing. And importantly, the creation of a new position within the organization called Municipal Liaisons, aka MLs. MLs are essentially moderators. They were responsible for organizing local writing sessions, pep talk emails, fundraising, and managing the online forums. With over 14,000 participants in the 4th year, this was a position that came with a lot of work and $0. MLs were always and entirely unpaid within the organization.
Interesting. And NaNoWriMo at one point was a nonprofit organization, right?
It's coming up, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
At this point, it's still like a just haphazard, like, yay, kind of quirky.
Right, it's a group
thing.
of people.
Yeah, but we're getting there. So a lot of former MLs have come forward in the dusty aftermath of Nano and said that during this time when Chris Spady was still involved, the environment was great. Chris was all about the community building. He was flexible, collaborative, super communicative, which of course he was. He's a writer.
Yeah.
And a project worked out for him. He's thrilled. He's like, holy shit, 4,000 people want to do the thing that I created? That's amazing. That's like 4,000 people buying your book.
Right.
Like, you're in space. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not surprising, but we like Chris Spady all throughout.
Great.
So.
Okay, good.
2006, we're skipping forward a little bit. So from 2002 to 2006, Nano just is operating. It's growing like Ebola, I guess. 2006, National Novel Writing Month officially registers as a nonprofit organization.
Wow, okay.
By this time, several NaNoWriMo books have actually gone on to the land of publishing, including a book called Time Off for Good Behavior by Lonnie Diane Rich and Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen.
No kidding. Water for Elephants was a NaNoWriMo novel.
I know.
That's wild.
I keep thinking about that god-awful movie with Robert Pattinson.
Yes, with the
That was
elephants.
supposed to be his Guys, I Can Do Other Things
Right.
movie
I can do
post
serious
Twilight.
acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he can. He's a fabulous actor. Have you seen Good Time?
Oh, Good Time's incredible. I love that movie.
Wow. He's an actor.
He is an actor.
He's an actor. I am thrilled to see that Lynn Ramsey movie coming out, by the way.
Yes. So
Not
am I.
thrilled that J-Law is in it. I'm skeptical of that. Not loving that. But Bobby Pat and Lynn Ramsey are made for each other.
I think they'll be good together.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. Let me know what you think.
So, but there are successful projects that it's been around so long that some of these projects are now getting published.
Yes.
That's a massive deal.
Yes, which lends the organization an air of legitimacy. Like AMC and Proactive, we all need a little celebrity endorsement. So by 2007, NaNoWriMo has over 100,000 participants, and Neil Gaiman is delivering the virtual pep talk.
No shot. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So from 99 to just like 20 people in San Francisco getting together at coffee shops after work, like making their book happen, to 2007, now Neil Gaiman is in the room.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
But it goes back to what you were talking about before, which is like, writing a book is on a lot of people's bucket list. Like,
yes.
there's clearly a need that people have for this, of community, of keeping people accountable, of wanting an organized time to do a thing. We've talked about it before, but when it comes to like making art, making artistic things, people, the common excuse that a lot of people have is, well, I just don't have time to do that right now. And as an artist, professionally, what you learn is like, you only have the time you set aside for it.
You never have time.
You never have time for it unless you set aside time for it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's only an hour a day. Maybe that's only 2 hours on the weekends total, but you have to set aside time for it or it just won't get done.
Yeah.
You know?
A great example is actually this podcast.
Yes.
So like when we started this podcast, Connor and I both like had a lot of time. Like we weren't working very consistently. So we were like, okay, if this works out and we're able to get some AdSense or a sponsorship or something, that will give us some financial freedom to like create the things that we want to create, like documentaries or narrative work, books. Like this will just give us a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where we can put ads on our videos, which is insane and very exciting.
Thank you so much to anybody who's watching this. It's because of you.
Crazy that you did that.
I'd never imagined that we'd be able to do that.
I'm thrilled.
And I'm so thankful that anybody is watching.
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
But also now we have to work on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now like this is like a lot more work than I think you and I both were expecting it to be.
I know. And it comes to that thing of like, we want to make things that we like.
We want it to be good.
We want to talk about stuff that we want to talk about. But at the same time, now we have to consider people who want to watch our stuff, right? Because we did
and be consistent.
Yeah, we did the Audra Winter video, which is great. Did really well. We're doing the Girlfriend Explains stuff is great. And then we released that 9/11 episode. And shockingly didn't do as well as book
That's
talk
a great
drama.
episode, okay?
It is a great episode. You should go watch.
If you skipped over it, you missed a gem, okay?
You should go watch the 9/11 episode we released about Rudy Deckers. It's awesome.
Connor was torturing himself over that thumbnail.
I really was.
We were just sweating over the because there's no such thing as a good thumbnail for that story, by the way.
No, it's tough to make a good, respectable thumbnail for a 9/11 story.
Yeah, I mean, we could have put thumbnail faces in there, but I feel like we would have gotten, that would have been rage bait.
9/11?
What?
But your point is right. It's like there is a certain expectation now where we want to make sure people are happy with the stuff we're making.
Well, what I was getting at is just like so it's very difficult to have freedom to do anything when you're not making enough money.
Yeah.
But then when you are making money, you're doing things to make the money. So it's like, cool. It's like, oh yeah, unemployment. That's a great time to write your book, except you got to be looking for a job. You got to be selling things on Depop to make your rent. You got to sell plasma, like you're doing what you can, and you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of freedom, and you're in that survival mode. And so there's just no mental space to be like, oh, what would my character made of snow do? You're like trying to feed yourself.
Right.
So, but then you do have a job and you are working and you're making money, and now you have way less time and way less time. So it's just this idea of exchange that you and I talked about, where it's like you're always trading one thing for another, and the circumstances are never going to be perfect. You just have to make the thing anyway. Yeah. And I think Nano gave a lot of people a good, supportive, really sweet environment to write. It was very doors wide open. Again, it's not just for professional writers, even though you have Neil Gaiman giving you a virtual pep talk. Like, it's a lot of amateurs for the most part. Young people too, like teenagers who are writing books, and then people who are retired finally writing their memoirs, and like this piece of fiction that they've been living with for 20 years. It's really like an awesome community.
I think it is such the brilliance of it is the community. And I think this is where I get a little soft-hearted for it. It's like, I think a lot of people need permission to make stuff before they start making stuff.
That's a really good point.
They feel like they can't because they're not. I can't write a book. I'm not a writer. It's like, well, no, that's not the point. Like, NaNoWriMo is giving them permission. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're a writer or not. Just sit down and write this many words in a day. You can do that, can't you? And they go, okay, I guess I can, sure. And I think anyone getting permission to do something that they've always wanted to do is a very freeing experience.
Yes.
And I think there's a reason that it resonated so heavily with so many people.
Yeah. I think we do this a lot, not just with artistic pursuits, but with everything, owning a business, moving somewhere, building a house, fixing things, where we're just like, oh, that's for other people. Like, I'm not qualified to do that thing. It's like, you can actually do that. I don't know what, this is something weird that I do. I live within walking distance of a park. And I love going to the park. And the other day I was thinking to myself, like, it'd be really nice to just like take a lawn chair out to the park and just sit there and read a little bit. But I'm not allowed to do that. And I was like, yes, you can.
You can absolutely do that.
You totally can do that. I don't know why I thought I couldn't. I was just like, I caught myself thinking that. I think we do that with everything. We're like, oh no, college is for certain types of people. Or like, no, working in entertainment is for certain kinds of people. It's for everybody.
I'll say this. If I can work in entertainment, anybody can. I have no college degree. I have no background in film or television. And somehow I've made a living doing this.
You got a beautiful head of hair and a really good heart.
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter for much when as a PA.
It matters for everything. By 2011, NaNoWriMo had over 256,000 participants, a new bad website, and a new executive director. Whoa.
Not Mr. Beatty.
Wee woo, wee woo. Chris Beatty announced that he would be stepping down, but he would still remain a part of the board, and a man named Grant Faulkner would be taking his place at the helm of this ship.
I'm guessing no relation to Mr. William Faulkner.
Oh, no. We are going to talk about Grant Faulkner.
Grant Faulkner.
Right now.
Okay.
Immediately upon Googling this man, I have some red flags popping up in my peripheral vision.
Okay.
Number one. Grant has mostly written books about writing books.
Ah, okay.
Which is not an inherently bad thing. A lot of authors have done this, like Stephen King, Haruki Murakami, Kurt Vonnegut did it, Virginia Woolf did it. But you'll notice that they did that mostly in their twilight years, after a long and winding career in literature, writing about other things.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure that the person who's lecturing you on how to do something actually knows how to do that thing. Right? That's like the benefit of an adjunct professor, is like you're bringing in a professional who knows the current landscape.
Right. Like Matthew McConaughey at UT. Yeah.
That's very valuable.
It is.
You know?
I know. And there's a couple of different things, like thoughts about that, right? Because like you're a screenwriter, so you know the types of books that exist for that is in the screenwriting space as well, right? Robert McKee was the biggest one. Sid Field was another big one. They wrote books about screenwriting, how to write a perfect screenplay to get sold. And they also never sold a screenplay. So there's a certain amount of that, but Robert McKee also sold out most of his talks that he did traveling around the country. Right?
I brought in another example, like from our world in indie filmmaking. There's a book called Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. If you ever say out loud, I want to be a screenwriter, this is true.
Yeah.
Somebody in the world has to, by law, launch a copy of Save the Cat by Blake Snyder at your head.
Yeah.
Or they go to jail and there's a $10,000 fine.
The amount of times I've heard, have you read Save the Cat? It's supposed to be a great book on. It's like, yes. I never want to read it again.
It's a fine enough starting point.
It is.
But neither of us are a big fans of the book or of the method that it teaches. And it's important to note that the guy who wrote that book also wrote that movie Blank Check, which you might recognize from this Drew Gooden video.
He could just fall in love with an adult woman, and then that will be the love interest for the entire movie. Yeah, that seems like a good decision.
I'll see you next time. I hope it's not in a million years.
Because a grown woman falls in love with a little boy, and that is part of the plot.
Yikes.
So, unfortunately, considering the source still matters.
Yeah.
Like, you can write all the books on screenwriting and how to structure your screenplay all you want, but if there's no proven track record that you actually know how to do it,
right,
I don't know how valuable your advice is. And it's the same thing with Grant Faulkner here, where it's like you're writing a lot of books about writing, but you haven't written a novel.
Right.
So I don't know how valuable your advice is going to be there.
That's the thing. If you write a lot of nonfiction books about writing, you can write a nonfiction book about writing nonfiction books about writing.
Right.
You know? And there's levels to it too. It's like I read a lot of books about marathoning because
Do you really?
I used to run. Yeah, I used to be long distance running. That was kind of my hobby before I got injured. And a lot of those books are written by people who, they're not long distance runners, but they're research scientists who are studying kind of sports medicine.
Yeah.
And they have PhDs specifically in running mechanics and that kind of thing. I'll put some covers up of books I've read. But what's interesting about that is like, that's science. And science has things that you study, you write papers on them. There's examination to it. There's objectivity to it, right? Whereas you can't do that when it comes to artistic fields like writing. There's no scientific way to make a bestseller.
No.
Right.
No. So like if you're going to write a book on screenwriting and you've won an Oscar for best screenplay, not that has to be the metric, because at this point, hopefully after our Oscar series, you have noticed that like it's not about the best movie. It's about like the newest movie that has the most money in its marketing budget.
Sure.
But if you have sold 55 screenplays to studios and you come out with a book that's like how to sell a screenplay to a major studio, you are well qualified to write that book.
I would read James Cameron's book on that.
Right. But would anybody read my book on how to raise a child with Down syndrome?
I don't think you have any children with Down syndrome.
I do not. So that would be a really weird book for me to write. Like I don't have any experience. Or like on boating.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been on a boat. I couldn't tell. What is a starboard? Is that back there? Where are the barnacles and how can I avoid them? That's all I need to know about the frickin' boat world. But okay, number 2, here's another red flag from Grant Faulkner. His website claims that he has published in dozens of publications, but I can't find most of that work anywhere.
Really?
I've only been able to track down a couple of flash fiction pieces and a smattering of interviews, but his website lists things like the Southwest Review, Tin House, the Gettysburg Review, 5 Points, the Rumpus. These are all legitimate and extremely competitive publications, but I cannot verify that he actually published in any of these because one, his website does not link out to them, which is very strange.
Oh, interesting.
Because if you're a writer, you link out to your pieces that have been published by professional publications.
Right.
And here's the thing, this also needs to be said, in professional publications, especially like more prestigious ones, you might not be able to access the actual piece that's been published without buying the actual magazine or like buying the issue that it's in. But other writers' websites will say, my piece Room was published in issue 3 of Broken Stone Review. And you can link to it here. And it will take you to the issue and their name will appear. Like, here's whose work appears in this issue. So you can verify it. I couldn't do that with any of Grant Faulkner's work.
That's interesting. And if they're such legitimate publications, they have archives on the internet.
Yes.
Like that's a big,
they do.
you know,
Or at the very least, you can search their website for his name or the piece's name.
Exactly.
And his name didn't come up in any of these places.
that's suspicious.
Number two, most of the links provided by his Wikipedia pages are broken, or they just take you to the website of the magazine, not to his piece. And again, when you search for his piece or his name, nothing comes up. So the work has either been scrubbed or it was never published in the first
It
place.
never existed. I will say, I was reading some of the first publications that George R. R. Martin was published in back in like the 90s, I want to say. You can find copies of those magazines on the internet still.
Yeah.
So the excuse of like, well, it was around a weird transition time in the internet. It's like,
No.
that doesn't really hold water anymore.
No, you can find it. You
Yeah.
can find, Lindsey, what's his name? E.B. White.
Okay.
E.B. White wrote Charlotte's Web and is one of Conan O'Brien's favorite authors. Not that that matters, but that is a piece of information that lives in my brain forever. But E.B. White also published pieces in the very early days of The New Yorker. And The New Yorker was published, founded around 1929, I believe.
Okay.
So well before the archiving process, especially digitally, was perfected. You can find those pieces everywhere.
Right.
The New Yorker has archives. Every magazine has archives.
Yeah.
So that's not an excuse here. Here's another red flag. 3 of his 6 published books are short story collections, and the other 3 are writing advice. So I don't know if this man is qualified to run an organization called National Novel Writing Month.
It's not looking great for him.
Not looking good. Okay, number 4, he also co-hosts a writing podcast and writes a weekly newsletter on writing and creativity, and has since gone on to executive produce a TV show about like the next big author. It's like American Idol, but with writing.
What?
I don't know. So this guy is at least super into the aesthetic of being a writer.
Sure.
I think he's very into the writing world and like maybe the technicalities of writing, but he hasn't written very much.
Okay.
So those are just the red flags that popped up immediately. Grant Faulkner is now the executive director. Chris Beatty has stepped down and is in the board. That's
Okay.
where we're at right now.
Gotcha.
Okay, so NaNoWriMo changes it up. After Chris stepped down and Grant stepped up, there was a noticeable shift in Nano's environment. New management, new cubicles, new me.
Mm-hmm.
This happens every time new management comes into town, by the way. They want to shift things around. They want to make it them.
Yeah.
This is a thing. Every merger results in like people leaving or getting fired for this exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tough to change management without changing everything.
Exactly. Because everybody has an idea of how to best run a thing. You know, they've got
Yes.
different ideas of what the most efficient way to run a corporation is.
Yes. And that's a really good point because one of the, I think, issues with bringing Grant Faulkner in after all this time is at this point, NaNoWriMo has been running for 13 years and Grant Faulkner is coming in as a new person. But there are municipal liaisons who have been working with NaNoWriMo for all of those 13 years.
Right.
So they know Chris Beatty and they know the organization and they know how things are done
Right.
more than Grant Faulkner does.
Correct.
But usually when new management comes in, they're not super collaborative with the people who have been there longer than them. They want to do things their way.
I know, which is unfortunate because
I know.
I think a big issue is that thinking that one method of success applies to all things. It's like the Walmart scenario, right? Walmart runs really successfully. They're $1 billion corporation. You can't make everything Walmart, right?
Right.
The Walmart method doesn't work for every store in the country, every
No.
store in the nation. So it's like this idea that, well, Walmart was successful. Why don't we just copy them? It's like, well, it doesn't work the same, you know?
No.
And whatever Faulkner's previous like successes had in his corporate life, like let's say, I don't know what corporations he was working for, but if he was working for a different corporation that he was running successfully, let's say it was like a bakery or like a corporate bakery or something, applying those same methods to NaNoWriMo might not work. And
No.
you see that a lot when new CEOs step up to companies. There was a CEO who stepped into a film industry. He was taking over a film studio, and his old job was working for like IBM. And it's like, okay, yes, there are similar things that you're doing in terms of organizing people and sending emails, but a film studio is not a computer manufacturer, you know?
Yeah, what do you think about this? This is coming from someone who has not worked in the corporate structure very much. I think if you are going to hire an executive director or CEO, it has to be internally. I don't think you hire externally for that.
I think it's tough. I just watched Spotlight yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good movie. And part of that movie is that this new head editor comes in from outside of Boston. He comes up from Miami. And because of that, he wants to push really hard on the story they're following.
Right.
And the thing that they keep talking about in the movie is the only reason we're talking about the story is because an outsider is looking in and seeing the problem.
Okay.
So I think there's something valid
That's
to
a
say
really
that
good
like
point.
somebody from the outside can come in with a new set of fresh eyes and
Yes.
figure it out. I think it's like we've talked about. To stay static is to die slowly.
Yes.
Right. But to totally change something to the old way of doing things at your old company doesn't necessarily mean it'll be better. You have to come in and do something new that works for that company specifically. That's kind of what I think. I think it can absolutely work if you hire from within. But that's also a good way to ensure that the company might not grow the way that it
Sure.
needs to, right?
Yeah.
Outside advisors and consultants have a lot of impact on how corporations kind of grow and foster new branches.
Yeah, or like the role of the consultant.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason you bring in consultants when you're
Absolutely.
changing things around, because you're like, you don't work for the company, you're actually an independent contractor, so
Mhm.
you have no stake in the game
Yeah.
at all. You can just bet on any horse that you think is going to win.
Exactly.
And we want to know which horse. One of the MLs has come forward and said something really insightful, which was Chris Beatty very much benefited from founder's syndrome, which means that any change in the organization or any addition is easy enough to make because it's his brainchild. So I hate that word. I'm really sorry for making
It's okay.
you say it. Mind orphan. It was his mind orphan. But if you don't have the institutional structure in place, the moment you step away, no one has any clear direction.
It's kind of really a typical case of founder syndrome that no one ever did anything about, where you have the visionary founder that can easily just take their thought and apply it to the thing that they created.
Yeah.
And the more you move away from that, if you don't have like some sort of institutional memory that can really hold the organization together, you're going to run into problems.
Right.
It's why, like, this is such a goofy example. I'm so sorry, everybody. But I went to a performing arts high school and I took stage management classes and was a stage manager for a period of time. And the whole thing, stage managers just make the show run. They give you lighting cues. They know when costume changes take place. They know where the emergency exits are. They're kind of like an assistant director on a film set.
That makes sense.
They run all the logistics.
Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do is when you have your binder, which is full of notes, is to make it legible so that in case anything happens to you, you get sick or you have to leave town, you just become unavailable for whatever reason, somebody else is able to pick up your binder and run the show that night. Because if it's just illegible things like in the margins of the paper and it's like no one can read your handwriting, then we can't run the show.
Yeah.
And we're in deep shit.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't just run on a prayer and a dream and be like, well, no, everybody sees the vision, because the moment you step away, there's no structure to keep that in place.
And that is the argument for corporation, like the corporate structure, is that
oh, you're making a hard pitch here.
I know, but the bureaucratic process is the idea of like we're going to universalize everything so that someone who is qualified can step in and run things, right? Because like we talked about with Chris Beatty, he had an idea of how to run things, but it was kind of running by whatever he thought needed to happen,
Yeah.
right? And
Without writing anything down, it
exactly,
sounds like.
it's like having a mom and pop restaurant
Yeah.
where the mom and pop pass away, and they've been doing all of the accounting and taxes
Yeah.
on like by hand on the receipts, and
Yeah.
they've got a big trash can full of receipts that they just hand to their accountant at the end of the year.
And they have shorthand with each other because
Exactly.
they know the language of the business,
And so
but
yeah.
a new person doesn't.
And the kids try to take over the business, and it's like, I don't know what to do.
What was mom doing with the money? I don't
Exactly.
know. I don't know what she
Exactly.
was doing with the money.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I would say structure is important. Bureaucracy is not.
Yes, I
That
agree.
is my forever stance. According to former volunteers and employees, Grant seemed much more concerned with making money than building community,
Okay.
which was a big shift. One former intern named Maddie gave a pretty stark example. So people used to make little pins and like watercolor paintings of like the NaNoWriMo hat with the horns, or like little NaNoWriMo shields and stuff. And it was like they're Etsy shops with like 3 customers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like very, very small town amateur artists, but really cute like design ideas. And she would go into Etsy and like reach out to the artists and be like, hey, if we team up, like we will promote your shop on our website and like within our forums, and you can if you just give us some free samples, like a little
Yeah.
quid pro quo. This is very nonprofit, just like existing in the tiny margins that you have.
Exactly.
But one time she was working on this, she was reaching out to artists on Etsy, and Grant walked by her computer and saw what she was doing, and he's like, oh yeah, I keep meaning to send a cease and desist to these people. And she was like, I don't think we need to do that. I don't think these people are threatening you.
Right. God, the moment you start sending cease and desist letters to like community members who are helping give you free promo, essentially, that's trouble.
I'd also like to point out that you know who else has done something like this? Taylor Swift.
Oh, is that right?
For decades.
Is that right?
Yeah. Her fans will make like friendship bracelets with her lyrics on them, or like paint her like on a canvas and start selling it, and like cease and desists immediately.
Damn.
And it's also really important to note, for a long time people were saying that like that's her team, like she doesn't have anything to do with that. No. Taylor Swift does not have a manager. She is in charge of her own corporation.
Oh, wow.
Every decision goes through Taylor Swift. Okay, so Nano chugs along like this with Grant for a good little while. There's a disastrous website redesign in 2019 that went completely off the rails and rendered the site basically unusable when November rolled around. So I don't know what's going on with the website. It is actually not that difficult anymore to design a website. You know what you do? You hire a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
You just hire a graphic designer and you say, here's what we need.
Right.
We have this many members. It needs to be readable and simple
and functional.
We will pay. Can you just do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing?
I don't know. And
What?
it's not like NaNoWriMo was doing they needed some crazy, things to happen on the website. It's like they just need people to be able to track stuff.
Track words, like maybe a forum or two.
Right.
Like it doesn't need to be that complicated.
It really doesn't.
But this was another thing that a lot of the municipal liaisons came forward and talked about on what is her YouTube channel's name? Savvy Writes Books. Savvy Writes Books wrote a great deep dive on the whole Nano disaster and interviewed a lot of people who were involved in the organization. Obviously, that video is going to be linked in the description. But a lot of the MLs that she interviewed talked about, like, there was for a long time in NaNoWriMo this like true grassroots feeling, like in the early days with Chris Beatty, and like you're getting like 14,000 participants. It's like, oh yeah, like let's just figure it out. And like things are kind of messy, but it's all fitting together. And then as it grew and grew and grew, and Grant stepped in, there was this sense that like we're kind of clinging to that quirkiness and like we're kind of passing off the mess as just like we're an artist just like you. Like we just we can't design a website. But it passes a point where like it's not appropriate anymore. Like you want to run a successful nonprofit, you need a website that people can actually like buy merchandise from and donate to and use and read. You can't have white text on a white background. What are we talking about? This, come on.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's
2019.
right. There was a website. I remember a version.
Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember a version of the website where there was white text and you had to highlight it to be able to read it.
Yes, there was yellow text. There was like cream colored text on a white background.
Oh my gosh.
We're putting cream on eggshell? My God.
Wow.
Yeah. So then 2020 hits like a plane into Rudy Decker's life.
Go watch that episode.
You've got to watch that episode. It's crazy. Nano moves completely online, but management was still very adamant about outreach, specifically about those hourly donation emails that MLs were being told to send out at this point. Because again, Grant Faulkner is all about building up the budget, like making money for the company. And a huge part of that was sending out literally hourly donation emails. Like Wikipedia, big red text. Donate now.
Right.
We're near destruction,
Right. And the thing is, like, I like when Wikipedia does that because they don't ask for much else, right? The thing for me is like, you know what, for a company like NaNoWriMo, you know what's a great way to raise money? Have a functional thing that brings community in and give people a product that they want to use. That's all you have to do. Like the hourly like donation emails don't typically work.
No.
They really don't. I would love to see the stats on that, but I've talked to some of my friends who work in nonprofit. And it's like that catches some people, but that should never be the main method of revenue generation.
Okay, so again, it's 2020, pandemic, everything is virtual, but NaNoWriMo is like, we cannot shut down because again, reminder, before 2020, a lot of things were in person, a lot of writing sessions, meetups at coffee shops, fundraisers, all that fun stuff. But now it's all online and the management is like, we're not letting it go. We still need to run things. So you need to figure out a way to do it all remotely. And that led to the setup of Discord servers, which is going to come back in a minute.
Oh boy.
I think we all know where this is going. But real quick, let's talk about some shady sponsorships, namely Inkit.
Inkit. I'm not familiar with Inkit.
I'm going to need you to tell me when I'm getting too heated.
Okay.
I'm already mad, and we have a page to go, and all I've said was the name.
Lindsey historically tends to get a little steamed at some things.
I'm not Italian. I can't tell you how much I wish I could speak Italian, because then the yelling would make sense. But in English, it just sounds like I'm like raging off into space.
We were talking about politicians before we started filming this episode, and I mean, even the mention of some politicians. See, she's getting upset. I even just said politicians, and she's getting upset already. I will make sure that you we bring you back down to
trying
her.
to take care of my cardiovascular health here. Relax.
Exactly.
So we got to talk about Inkit.
Inkit, okay.
In 2022, NaNoWriMo accepted a sponsorship from Inkit. Inkit is exhausting. It's also a, quote, reader-powered publisher. We talked about the middle class of art making sort of disappearing in our last episode. A lot of scam companies are popping up in that void. Mm-hmm. And not that Inkit is a total scam. I've never used it, okay? But I have some qualms from the outside looking in, okay? Again, those red flags are popping up in my periphery. So, Inkit was founded by a man named Ali Albazaz, a former tech guy or programmer or salesman. I couldn't get the whole down low, and his LinkedIn is like only Inkit now.
Okay.
So, whatever.
Okay.
But he looks like a tech bro.
And
he lives in San Francisco. So
he's one of those.
Told you San Francisco was going to come back. So he is a man who was dismayed by stories like J.K. Rowling's, whose Harry Potter series was famously rejected by 12 publishers before eventually finding a home. Mm-hmm. So he decided to pass the power of acceptance and rejection from editors to readers. Here's a quote. Inkit has a social reading platform which writers can upload their stories on. Readers can read the books completely for free, and in the background, we analyze their reading behavior. What is that? What is that? Is that my AI antenna picking up some fucking grifting bullshit? I'm picking up on an AI grifter. Hello. Yes. Inkit uses computer algorithms to tell which projects people read and how quickly they read them. And according to Ali, quote, based on these data points, we can predict which stories have the potential to become bestsellers, end quote. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to upset you a little bit. I checked. The things you were saying were starting to remind me of something. Mm-hmm. Back when I had my production company with my old producing partner, we got approached by a production company that was making vertical dramas.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
And they were the primary partner of Inkit, Inkit and Galatea TV.
Yes.
And we at one point were in a bid for a contract to be their primary production company that they were going to use to make vertical content. And we did not obviously get that contract. And I'm guessing based on the rest of what you're about to say, I'm going to be happy that I didn't.
That's a great thing. Sometimes getting rejected is a blessing.
It is.
Sometimes I think about the men I used to have crushes on, and I'm like, I'm so glad that you had no sense. I'm so glad that you just didn't like me because I had curly hair and that just wasn't cute to you. Like, thank God. Are you noticing a rhythm here? Because I am. Creative space created by and for grassroots artists doing their thing, creating a cozy, accessible place for all to flourish. Tech bros storming in with their fleeces and their San Francisco custom Tessa Labubu chocolate crumble cookie bullshit and ruining it. Rent goes up by 500% and the artists can't afford to live there anymore. They move. Tech bros are left all alone with their granite countertops and their self-portrait shaped hedges. Think about Brooklyn. What's happening in Brooklyn?
I don't know what is happening.
Do you have any idea what Brooklyn used to be like? It used to be like the most dangerous place in the entire world. So who moves there? Artists, because it's cheap. And they want to live in New York City, but you can't afford to live in the Upper West Side because that's where the oil barons live. So you got to go out to Brooklyn and huff it to Manhattan to work, and that's where you start living. Now, Brooklyn has a bunch of fucking breweries where they sell $25 beer out of fucking mason jars. Ruined. Los Angeles. Why is rent going up and up and up and up and up? It's because all of the weird, like, rejects, the social rejects of the country and then the world moved to Los Angeles to start working in a little thing called cinema.
Yep.
And then who got a hold of it? Wall Street. Why are all these huge studio movies like zapped of color and creativity? Why do they all sound the same?
Right.
Because these tech bros run it.
Yeah, and I think the stuff you're talking about with Faulkner, like the cease and desist and the wanting to focus on the budget, their main prerogative is just to squeeze and wring out as much profit.
Bottom line.
It's the bottom line.
Bottom feeders love the bottom line.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think the real shame of it is they can't really create anything on their own.
They
typically.
cannot.
You know,
That's not their thing. They
that's why
work in tech. I don't understand this. It's like, I'm a screenwriter. Therefore, I am never going to become mayor.
Sure.
I recognize that these skills are very different.
Sure.
You know? Like, that's not my lane.
I do think there is creativity within that can happen within the tech world. There are apps, there's games, there's ways that you can do this. But a lot of the tech industry that we see nowadays is creating an artificial problem that doesn't exist and then selling the solution for it.
Yes.
And it's very disappointing to see, because especially when it affects the art world, like what I assume you're about to tell me, I think it did.
Yes. Also, look at Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Asheville had a booming and still has a pretty booming like art scene, specifically with furniture. There's this major, I forget what it's called, but there's this huge convention where like handmade wooden furniture, gorgeous, once in a lifetime pieces at this place. Okay. That's like what they're making in Asheville, North Carolina. You can't afford to live there anymore. They are charging New York and LA prices. Why? Because it was a beautiful, cool, artsy place to live, and then a bunch of uncreative idiots with fleeces and Teslas moved in and ruined it for everybody. According to Inkit's website, quote, 1 in 2 novels discovered by readers become bestsellers, published on Galatea and adapted into Candy Jar shows, end quote. Candy Jar is a vertical series streaming service. I was actually getting an ad for one of their shows a couple months ago, like over and over and over again. So this guy, Ali, is just chasing the next big thing because verticals is like where some money is right now.
There's
so he's just a cupcake machine gun, just like, whoa, 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 whoa.
He's
money.
A predator of opportunity.
Here's a great quote from Chad Felix, who works for an independent book publisher.
Okay.
Quote, "We've seen it again and again. Non-expert or reformed expert approaches industry with ideas about how to make money. Non-expert builds algorithm. Non-expert tries to sell newfangled guaranteed to work thing back to the industry of bad experts." End quote.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like when these alpha males like start up their podcasts and then start selling courses on how to be an alpha male to other men who aren't getting laid.
Yeah, there's a reason they all sell supplements and courses.
Anywho, Nano started pushing Inkit out to its participants, saying, "Hey, when you finish that when you finish that 50,000 word draft, Inkit can give you a place to publish it."
Yeah.
And not just that, but when people finish their drafts, they hit that 50,000 word, and there's like a big confetti explosion to be like, "You finished it," or like, "You won." The first thing that would pop up was like a little clip to Inkit being like, "Now what? Go to Inkit and sell the rights to your first novel." Which, if you're an amateur writer and you just wrote your first book and you think it's good and you want to get it published, traditional publishing is very expensive and also not accessible. That's for rich people.
Yep.
And self-publishing is not going to give you the marketing budget that you need, and it's also very expensive. There's a lot of upfront costs associated with that. So this feels like a really good middle ground.
Sure.
Where it's like, oh my God, I can get my book published and it pushed out to people. How incredible is that? And they're amateurs, or they're new to the space at least, because I think sometimes amateur has like a negative connotation.
Sure.
And I don't mean it with that. I just mean like this is your first time in the space. You don't know what red flags to look out for.
Right. And that's the thing. And NaNoWriMo has developed such a good community base that there's kind of a bit of trust between the people who participate and the company of NaNoWriMo. So if NaNoWriMo is going to push something like that, then there's kind of like an automatic vetting thing that happens in a person's mind, I imagine.
Yes.
It's like, I trust NaNoWriMo. They're pushing this thing. It must be good.
Exactly.
Right.
Right, because NaNoWriMo still is pushing itself as like this cool grassroots like artist. We're just like you. So like if they're teaming up with Inkit, they're like, well, this must be legitimate.
Right. Right. Exactly.
It's not. I don't think it is. So yeah, I think NaNoWriMo and Inkit are both guilty here of kind of doing the same thing, like pushing themselves as like, you know, J.K. Rowling also got rejected. Herman Melville also got his book rejected, and we'll give you a place to put your book.
Sure.
But NaNoWriMo not only attracted like some professional writers and some like amateur adult writers, but also like teenagers.
Yeah.
And there were programs for children. So you had all people of all kinds writing books and finishing them in November. And then you were pushing them towards Inkit, and Inkit is selling them the same story of like, yeah, anybody can publish a book. Like, we're here to help you. We're here to take power away from the big guys and give it to you, the little guy.
Right.
And so I think NaNoWriMo knew very much what it was doing. But again, this is Grant Faulkner, and Grant Faulkner is not so concerned with how things look. He's concerned with money, and Inkit had money.
Yeah. So basically, once they finished, they would get pushed to Inkit, and they would essentially right away or sell off the rights to their story.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's pretty predatory.
Yeah. Also, this isn't on Inkit's website anymore, so they may have changed their model, but a year ago, or even less than a year ago, Inkit had like their whole system laid out on their website.
Mm-hmm.
You use our software and we will try to sell it to like top publishers. And then if they don't buy it, we'll buy it and we'll publish it. And then if we don't sell over 1,000 copies, then we'll sell you back the rights. But if we sell more than 1,000 books, then we'll go back to those top publishers and we'll try to sell the book again. And that's not how publishing works.
No.
If a
typically not.
major publishing house, if you publish with an independent publishing house, no other big guy is going to publish your book. You already sold books under a different publishing house.
Exactly. You can't sell the rights to your book twice.
No.
Right? There are some finicky things where like there are hardcover editions, there's special editions, like that kind of thing. But typically when you sign a publishing agreement, you are signing over the publishing rights to your book.
Also, it wouldn't be in Inkit's financial interest to sell a book that is selling well. So I have a hard time believing they would actually be willing to sell the rights to a successful book
No.
to another house.
We probably can't find these numbers, but I'm going to guess that didn't happen very often.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why do that when you can make a bad vertical series called like The Wolf in Me?
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Luckily, a few savvy writers picked up on Inkit's weirdness, and word started to spread through the forums. Like, this is not cool. Nobody use Inkit. There's some red flags here. And this sentiment traveled all the way up the grapevine to the head grapes, and NaNoWriMo actually did end their partnership with Inkit at the end of that year.
Good.
Which was a really good move. I did not see that coming. I kind of had whiplash.
No, I mean, it's like what we talked about, I think, in the Audra Winter stuff. It's like when you put out any kind of product, you are now have to kind of pay fealty to the people who buy it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think they handled that situation very well. And I was very surprised to see that. You know what else I did not see coming? The exploitation of children.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah.
By NaNoWriMo?
Oh, yeah. So now we got to talk about the Discord.
Oh, no, not the Discord servers. Oh, no. It's like having a Snapchat group thing. Like it's
Just invite the devil into the room while you're at it. What are we doing on Discord?
leave the Discord servers to gamers. Like
Leave them to the gamers. That's what it's for.
Really?
Oh my God. My future children will never be on the internet as long as they live with me. And that is because even a nonprofit called National Novel Writing Month is pockmarked with creeps and bandits and cannot have a Discord server. So NaNoWriMo had a program called the Young Writers Program
Okay.
for people kindergarten through 12th grade. And there was apparently some pressure put on the MLs to recruit for this program, which that's a morally gray area too.
Sure.
Like, hey, reach out to the children in your own life. And so people are reaching out to like their godchildren or bringing their own children in or like their neighbors. Like, hey, if you have a book and you want to write a book, I work for NaNoWriMo, you should come in and join the Young Writers Program. Like it's just for kids. Which, judging by what happens next, I think that puts them in a pretty complicated moral spot.
Sure. I mean, there is something to be said for, I think, the idea of trying to get young people into writing, especially if they have an interest.
Absolutely.
It's great. I think that's wonderful.
But what's wrong with like the programming at the library?
That's the thing. Like, I remember in 4th grade, I wrote a writing assignment, and my teacher at the time, Miss Tucker, recommended me for the summer writing camp program. And it was awesome. It was like a 2 or 3 week program where I got to go to this like facility at a university, and I got to learn from like these English professors at the university. I think it was Emory College in Georgia. And we got to learn. And I was in 4th grade. I was like, this is amazing. And I just got to write all day.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. That's a wonderful thing. And there were a lot of kids there, and we all loved it. It was like summer camp, but you got to write.
Did you do the DEAR program at your school? Drop everything and read?
Oh, we did have that. Yeah.
Those were that was my jam.
Yeah.
I loved reading as a kid, and like the DEAR was it stood for drop everything and read, and you could come to school in your pajamas, and
That's
like
right.
the
Yes.
teachers would just like put the lamps on and like light a candle.
Oh my God.
And play soft music, and we would all just like lay down like in little pillows and blankets and read and nap all day.
We got to find pictures of this.
How about the Scholastic Book Fair?
The Scholastic Book Fair was the best.
I want that aesthetic in my house.
I bought so many
Oh.
useless Christmas presents for so many members of my family.
Oh.
So many tiny sewing kits and little tchotchkes.
Absolutely. That is where my indecision came from. That plagues me still. I would walk around that whole fair 20 times being like, do I want this book or do I want that? My mom gave me $20. I only have time for 2 books.
Right. And then you buy a gigantic pencil and then like the blinkers that go behind the ears. It's great. I love the Scholastic book.
That was sick. So yeah, anything to push reading and literacy
yeah, and
to
writing,
young people
yeah.
and to like make that accessible, because I was really lucky in that I loved reading, and so I spent a lot of time reading.
Yeah.
We had a rule in my house for a while. This was something my mom tried to do, God bless her, where she was like, okay, we only have 1 hour of TV time and we're all going to read instead. We're going to read for a few hours a day. And my siblings mostly did not like that.
Yeah.
My sister Lauren did. Lauren reads
Of
a lot.
course, Lauren liked it.
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
I know. You can tell that she's read a million books in her life.
Yeah,
You're talking
yeah,
to her and you're like, I think
absolutely.
you know everything, actually. You feel like you're talking to an oracle, and it's because you are. But the other two were like, oh. And even my dad was reading a bunch of Louis L'Amour books.
Okay.
He was a voracious reader. I think he's read every Louis L'Amour book.
He's written a lot of books.
To brag. But yeah, so my siblings hated it. I loved it. I was already reading every night before I was going to bed, and like sometimes I would read and watch TV at the same time. Like, so I was very lucky in that reading felt very accessible and exciting to me. But for some kids it doesn't. For some kids it feels as foreign as math feels to me. Like, it's literally another language and they don't have as easy access to it. So making it as accessible and approachable as possible is really important.
It is. And I think it's important to have a lot of modes that kids can engage with. Like, my nephew had a lot of trouble learning how to read. He struggled with that for a long time. I don't know if you remember that. I
do.
I was trying to help him learn how to read last year before, because he was struggling and he was behind and he was very self-conscious about it. And the thing that ultimately ended up helping him was he got a private tutor to help him out. And I introduced him to manga. And he loves reading manga. And to him, manga is a lot more approachable because a lot less words on the page, a lot more pictures, and it's fun, right? He likes that more than trying to read a chapter book, like a kid's chapter book.
It's a good gateway.
It's a great gateway. And it's like, it's not that he hated reading, but he had to find the right kind of thing for him specifically. And he loves it. He's read almost all of Naruto. I think he's finished all of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
And he's 10. He loves it so much. And we get to talk about it. So I think it is important to find things that kids like. I think the red flag that what you're talking about is that the people from NaNoWriMo were approaching kids directly. And
then putting them online.
And I think, at least to me, anytime a corporation or a company is in direct contact with children, there's usually badness there. And I think that's,
again, you're chasing the bottom line.
And kids should not be a part of your bottom line.
No.
I think it'd be a lot better if the program was NaNoWriMo talks to schools. They work with the Scholastic program. They talk to teachers directly. And then the teachers recommend students for certain things.
Very early on, I skipped over this, but very early on, I think starting in 2007, NaNoWriMo teamed up with a lot of local libraries. And towards the end, they were teamed up with like 1,700 public libraries in the country.
That's amazing.
Who did like talks and like readings and like hosted events, and like they teamed up. And that's great. That's what you want to do.
Yes.
Like, put it into the communities that are actually like ingrained, and put it like in person
to
the library. So like parents can go with their kids, or it's like a more of a community thing, instead of just putting them on Discord and assuming that whoever says they're a teacher is actually a teacher,
right,
without doing any background checks, which happened in NaNoWriMo, by the way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, let's talk about these Discord servers. So yes, the forums for the Young Writers program were an absolute calamity of mass proportions. Like, they were supposed to be run by teachers, but there was no verification and no background checks. So you could just say that you're a teacher. And in fact, this happened a lot with high school students, because you put high school students online, there's going to be bullying involved, because high schoolers are so mean.
They are.
They are the meanest people in the world. And again, I didn't know this because I was in mime troupe. So I went to a school where it was safe to be a mime. We were all pretty nice to each other.
Right. Right. But you went to an art school.
But I went to an art school.
Yeah.
So like a regular public high school in the United States, terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. I have a niece who's that age. I put on extra makeup before I see her, because I don't want any issues with my skin. They rip you apart. They notice it. You see them notice it. So they would bully each other and then be like, okay, you're a bully. Like, get out of the forum. Like, you're not welcome here anymore. That person who's 18 could just log off and then log into a different forum and be like, hey, I'm a teacher, so I'm here to run a new Young Writers Program forum. And they would. Because there was no way to check it.
Yeah, because it's Discord.
Because it's Discord.
Yeah.
So that was happening. So you can imagine who else might be saying they're a teacher when they're not really a teacher. What else? Overall, it just sounds like that literary magazine that I volunteered for a little while.
Oh boy.
It's just absolute dismay and mayhem. Like, 25 channels. It's not clear who's doing what, like who's tasked with doing what, who's reaching out to this person, who's this new person, who just admitted this guy, like how old are you, like mayhem. Nobody knows how to organize it. So you're seeing the issue here. It's a bunch of young people unmonitored on the internet. And at this point in 2022, NaNoWriMo has 412,295 participants.
That's crazy.
Across 671 regions in 6 continents, and no oversight. There's a creep. There are several creeps in that group.
Statistically, there have to be.
Here's the thing. Creeps are a much bigger problem than I thought they were going to be when I was growing up. I was way more concerned with like the Mesopotamia, like fertile field.
Or quicksand.
And quicksand. And dragons. I was concerned. Like, I did not realize how many creepy people were in the world. And every year that I'm alive, I realize how many creepy people are in the world. 412,000? I would bet money that 400,000 of those people are creepy. I really would. I would put money on it. 400,000 creeps and 12,000 people who just want to write their book. At this point. So that was going on in the Discord, but the real issue showed up in 2023. So there was one group in particular called Christian Teens Together for people aged 13 to 18. And the moderator for this group was called Mod X. I don't know their real name. I don't want to, but sometimes they are referred to as Cinnamon Fridge.
Cinnamon Fridge.
I feel like I'm in the back rooms. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm not made for this world. I was meant for a world where we sell like sacks of coins for feed. You know, I'm so medieval peasant, you know? Anyway, Mod X started sharing a website with some of the group's members, and this website included content involving children.
No.
And they were promoting that they created the website. So there was no question like, oh, maybe it's just a website that they view, which is already a problem. They're like, no, I made this. Isn't this awesome? So
they were showing CP to children.
Yeah. So this is immediately brought to the attention of admin, who investigate but cannot confirm these claims.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Here's the thing. This is an organization who cannot figure out how to run a Discord server. So figuring out how to verify who somebody is and what website they may or may not own is way above their pay grade. Like, you can't do it. Yeah. It'd be like asking me to figure that out. I really wouldn't even know where to start. You know? I'm not tech savvy. I wouldn't know.
I have a family member who works in amusement parks. That's like his thing, at local amusement parks. And he says, and it's in a small town, but they have like mini golf and putt-putt and all these other things, roller coasters. And he is a more tech savvy person. And he's trying to help this company like update all their stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'm having trouble convincing them they even need to work on it because all these people who are running this company are in their 60s and 70s.
They don't know.
And it's like, well, it's been working this way for so long. Like, why change it, you know? And it's like, well, you got to change it because things are going to keep moving, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, don't introduce something like this unless you know how to control it.
Or unless you're willing to hire somebody who knows how to run it.
Exactly.
It's like when these companies hire like a 25-year-old to run their social media. I'm like, that's a good move. You don't want to hire somebody who's 45 because they didn't grow up with it.
No.
Not to say that 45-year-olds don't know how to use social media.
Sure.
But I'm saying like if you're in the corporate structure and like you've been working in marketing for 25 years and you went to school in the 80s, like your sense of what social media is and what is funny and what is trending, you're just not going to be as tapped in.
Right.
And I know that because I have tried running our Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing. I am officially aged out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Instagram moves fast.
Wow.
But you're right. I think you have to, you don't know what you don't know. Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't grow up with things like social media, then there's too much information packed into people nowadays who have grown up with it to just catch on a regular timeline.
Absolutely, yes.
You know?
Joan Didion said that a writer is always selling someone out. And in the case of NaNoWriMo, the writers really wanted to sell out the creeps. Thank God.
Good.
So they don't stop talking about it, sending messages about it, raising the alarm, the war flag, what have you. And it comes out that moderator X was always faking their own death.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. This person would be like, oh, I'm dying. And then like just show back up a week later and be like, oh, no, I'm cured. Real regular Belle Gibson over here. Just like faking their death.
So this person would be in charge of children.
Yep.
Post explicit material that children should not be seeing.
Yeah.
That illegal explicit material that they should not be seeing.
Yeah.
Get in trouble and then say, sorry, I'm dying,
I'm dead.
and then disappear,
Yeah.
and then show back up later,
Right.
and do it all over
To
again.
avoid prosecution or accountability.
Yeah.
To avoid accountability and prosecution.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So all this chatter about wolves in the chicken coop make the exec team extremely nervous. So they decide to shut down the forums. So here's a quote from the board. Quote, "We want folks to know that we've hired a consultant as an on-the-ground resource who will serve the organization over the next several months. The forums will remain closed until the aforementioned assessment is complete and until a path forward is decided upon." And around this time, Grant Faulkner also stepped down.
I'm still processing everything you said. That is such a corporate nothing burger sentence, like statement. That's so HR coded. It kind of hurts. Here's the thing. Here's my thing.
You tell me your thing.
It's so easy. It's like it cost a company nothing to put out a statement that says, we don't like creeps and creepy people.
They're not welcome here.
They're not welcome here. And they couldn't even do that.
Why can't you just say that? I'm so against corporate culture and bureaucracy exactly because of this. Because suddenly, like somehow it allows people to stop acting like people. Like it's like institutionalized bystander bias.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, well, surely somebody else is going to step in and do something.
Right.
And it's like, no. It's a million of you just standing around being like, well, surely someone's going to put out the fire, right?
Who am I passing the buck to?
Is anybody calling? This is why they tell you, this might be good to know. They tell you in first aid training, they're like, if you, for example, see a car accident happen and you get out of your car and you want to help somebody, and you're doing something else, you're trying to get the door open, you're trying to get somebody out of the car, you point to another bystander and you say, you call 911.
Yes.
It gives them a direct responsibility because you can't just be like, someone call 911. Because then everybody's going to be like, well, I think she's got her phone out. She's probably doing it. Well, he's a man. Like he should probably do it. Step up. You
Exactly.
used to hunt. The least you could do is call 911. And then nobody calls 911. So you have to look at somebody in the eye and be like, you are tasked with calling 911. You hand me that glove. You turn a light on, So it just allows people to stop talking and acting like people. I'm like, hey, if we were 20 friends at a coffee shop and some weird guy came over and tried to steal someone's phone out of their hand, we would just handle that like people would.
Right.
What is wrong with just smacking that guy, getting him kicked out of the coffee shop, and then sitting around that table and being like, what a weirdo.
Yeah.
Right? Let's not
Anyway,
let that happen anymore. Maybe we put our phones in our purses and zip it.
Right.
What is wrong with that?
I know. Companies are so afraid to take accountability. And on one hand, I get it because of how litigious Americans are. And like American culture is based around litigiousness.
Which that's got to change.
That does have to change. But at the same time, it's like part of that litigiousness is because companies do this kind of thing. And then they don't take accountability,
We've hired an expert to
It's
do
like
the blah, 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 blah,
Nestle
blah,
will poison the water supply. They will just poison the water supply.
They will. That's
unless
another
somebody
thing.
stops them from poisoning the water
That's the
supply.
other thing. Corporations will do literally anything if you don't step in and say something.
The joke I make with my parents and people who are outside of the industry, because we have unions in the industry. And, people have opinions about unions. But the thing is, the only thing keeping massive corporations like studios from engaging in slavery is the law
That's it.
and unions.
That's the only
That is
thing.
the only reason they
Do I
don't-
need to point to
like-
Ben-Hur that was made in 1929 and killed over 100 horses just in the making of that movie? For a movie, we slaughtered 100 horses. Why? Because the law didn't say they couldn't.
I mean,
That's the only reason.
we're still not even 100 years removed from having child labor not be in the law books.
Yeah. And we still haven't figured that out, by the way.
No.
Why are all these family channels allowed to vlog their children, like getting their diapers changed and going to the doctor and like putting a tampon in for the first time without any payment or protection for that child?
Right.
We haven't figured that out yet. We don't know where that line is.
And that's like we have laws for that now in the film industry where
You can
child
only-
actors are protected.
You can only work a couple hours a day. You have to have a studio teacher, or a parent has to be on set at all times.
Yeah.
They can only work, all this regulation.
That's the thing.
But still, is it enough? Because we see all that regulation has been in place, but then you have these documentaries like All Quiet on Set come out, and you're like, well, these kids still aren't protected.
Yeah.
So it becomes a question of should children be allowed to work at all, under any circumstances? Because you wouldn't have a child show up at a corporate office.
No.
You wouldn't have them show up at Merrill Lynch on Monday and put in their 5 hours. So
No.
why are they allowed to work on a film set? Because it's fun?
because we allow
I
it,
don't know
because
how
we want
fun
it.
because we want it. Because
Yeah.
it's kind of funny seeing a kid in rain boots do a little dance. And
I
it's
know.
like, I don't know if that's worth their innocence.
Well, and what ends up happening a lot of times, and not to even just for kids, but in terms of companies do a thing, they want to skirt and find the most bottom line, right? Then they do it unethically and regulations come in. Those regulations make it so that they can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is some companies follow the rules and some companies, mostly tech companies based out of San Francisco, go, well, how do we get around these regulations? Let's start a new industry. We'll call it new media. We don't have to follow any of these regulations. And we'll make a ton of money for the first couple of years before the regulations catch up to us.
That's exactly what they do.
And that's exactly what they do. It's really unfortunate.
And not to get too dark, but that also happens in drugs.
Yeah.
All those synthetic drugs coming out of labs right now. We're still talking about fentanyl. Fentanyl is like old news at this point.
It is.
Like the government is just now figuring out what trank is. Catch up.
Yeah. It's
Catch
really tough.
up. You are a decade behind.
Yeah.
You have got to move, guy. This is why I don't think old people should be in government. You can't move fast enough. We need people in their 30s who are marathon runners who can run after these people being like, oh, I don't think so.
That's the thing. Like I think about trying to explain like Snapchat to a senator. It's like, God.
Ages me. Watching my mother use a TV remote.
Oh,
I can't.
Hearing my mom, I love my mother so much. Hearing her try to tell me a website, we'll go to you put in http://www. It's like, Mom, what's the website? Just
Oh, please. Oh, please help me.
they can't help it. It's not their fault.
I worked at a nursing home for a little while during the pandemic, and so the only way that these residents could see their families was through the iPad.
Oh.
Who do you think was in charge of helping them use the iPad? Why do I have gray hair?
So they come out with that statement.
Yeah. Come out with this statement that's very HR coded, and Grant Faulkner steps down. Who steps up? A woman named Kilby Blades.
That's not a real name. That's a fan fiction name.
I just thought of your dad listening to this episode, and I just said Kilby Blades.
Her name is Kilby Blades. What's her middle name? Like Gun? Like
I'm so sorry. Kilby Blades is a pen name. And
okay.
that's the only name we have for her.
So she picked that name.
She picked that name. Yeah. And she explains the origins of this name on her website. Quote, "It seems fitting to tell you that my real name is not Kilby Blades. Given the racy nature of the earlier novels I wrote as Kilby Blades, I prefer to stay in the closet. The name Kilby Blades was inspired by my late fictionista friend of the same name. She passed away in 2003 at the end of a long illness that we didn't know nearly enough about at the time. We were both in our early 20s when she died. It's hard to explain how someone who is gone can still hold such an important place in my life, but Kilby does." End quote. I have some thoughts about this.
I want to hear. That's such a weird statement to make about a pen name.
I think it's a little weird to put your dead friend's name on top of your smutty fan fiction.
That is weird. So this was somebody's actual name then.
Yeah, so I don't know how I as a ghost would feel if that happened to me.
If you pass away and somebody starts using your name as their pen name
For sexy fan fiction.
and they write smut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's unclear if like this was her friend's actual name,
right,
or if it was her pen name, because she says fictionista.
Sure.
So this friend could have been a writer who was writing, and that was her pen name. But this whole statement is confusing to me.
That's very odd.
Yeah, and I don't know how her family feels about all that information being out there, but it's out there, so that's great. Also, I don't know if I agree with the concept of running a business anonymously, especially when the business is so forward-facing and community-based. Like, why not use your real name to be Big Boss CEO Lady and keep your pen name as your pen name? You can keep the two characters separate.
Right.
You don't have to intermingle those two things. But it seems like, to me, you want the press of Kilby Blades, like people saying that name and like looking you up from NaNoWriMo without having to put your face on the company, which I disagree with morally.
That's not great. No, not great. That's the accountability. Nobody wants to take accountability.
Nobody wants to be responsible for their own actions.
This is a way of skirting accountability.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
She also uses an AI generated headshot in all of her nano correspondence. So we don't even know what she looks like.
This is feeling real bad.
I'm getting that weird feeling in my chest here. I feel like we're being duped. Her website's homepage also includes the quote, "Kilby Blades is a fresh new voice in smart romantic fiction. Literally everyone." which might be cute and funny on anyone else's website, but based on how she ran this organization and treated the people around her, I think it's more revealing than anything. It also states that she was USA Today's #1 romance author, a title which means nothing to me because you know who else holds that title? Kate Golden, the woman who wrote that creepy and inappropriate Hosier-inspired romance novel.
Oh, you wrote an article about that one.
I did, and I'm thinking about making a video about it, so you guys let me know if you're interested in that.
I
have a lot of thoughts
The
on
Hosiermance article.
Yeah.
The novel that was based on Hosier. It was a Hosier fan fiction.
She was also a USA Today best-selling author, so I'm thinking that title means fucking nothing to me. Nothing. Anywho, according to several of the MLs who worked under Kilby, I cannot believe I have to keep saying that name out loud, working for her was a complete nightmare. Okay. One ML has even called her the human version of the British Empire.
She tends to come off like a human version of the British Empire, like everything is just so imperious. She just has this sort of encased in like lacquer of privilege kind of attitude with everything that she declares.
There was some question of privilege surrounding Kilby. Like, I think this woman might come from money and not understand how things work. Because again, pulling from her website, here's a quote. She has lived in 5 countries, visited more than 25, and spends part of her year in her happy place, her pied-à-terre in the Andes Mountains. End quote. That's a woman with money.
That's real money.
You're going to your occasionally housed like apartment in the Andes Mountains.
That's real money.
Mm-hmm. Which might help explain why, again, according to the MLs who worked under her at this time, she didn't see the value in online forums and communities when everybody could just go on a writer's retreat instead.
She thinks everybody can go on writer's retreats.
Yeah, because she goes on one every year.
Kilby said that the forums weren't important and that she went on a weekend writing retreat every year. She got a response of, not everybody can go to in-person events.
Oh, no. Now, you don't have to divulge this information if you're not comfortable with it. You just went on a writer's retreat.
It was a residency.
A writer's residency, which is different from a writer's retreat.
Yeah, important to note. Writer's residency and writer's retreats are very different. A writer's retreat is when it's basically a vacation.
Yes.
All of the upfront cost goes to you for travel and board and room and food and all that stuff. And you go and you write and you get to work usually in a beautiful location with other people. It's for community and it's awesome. And if you've got the funds for it, incredible. Seriously.
There's a lot of programs out there that do that kind of thing.
I've never done a writer's retreat. Actually, we did one, but it was grad school and we all went in on a cabin together, like in Mammoth Lake.
That's a great way to do it.
And it was so cool. Yeah. And it was great. And I don't think we got any writing done. So I don't think I think we mostly just hung out in the hot tub. But
Brandon Sanderson, oddly enough, I feel like I bring him up way too much, so I apologize.
You're his #1 fan.
I am. He's great. But he hosts a writer's retreat cruise every year where they basically rent out part of a cruise ship and they do talks every day. And the idea is come on this cruise ship, go to these islands and write and hear authors talk about writing.
Wow, that sounds like my nightmare.
Yeah. Not my thing, but he loves doing it. I think really he just wants an excuse to go on a cruise with his family and write it off as a business expense, which honestly, I'm pro that. I think that's great.
I got nothing against people who are cruise people.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Not my thing.
Do not invite me. I'm not going.
But writers' retreats can be expensive.
Yes, they're very expensive usually. But writers' residencies don't always cost money. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times you're on a fellowship or it's entirely it's run by a nonprofit who runs on donations and federal grants and things like that, and you can go.
Exactly. The idea behind a writer's retreat is that instead of going on vacation to Disney World, I will put all that money towards me going out into the mountains and writing for 2 weeks.
It can be a great investment in your own career, but again, not everybody has thousands of dollars to spend on retreats. And this woman, Kilby Blades, is coming into NaNoWriMo, which is functionally almost entirely online at this point, and saying, I don't understand why so much of this is happening online. And the MLs are trying to explain, it makes it accessible. This is an international organization. We can't just have writers' retreats because not everybody around the world can afford to jump on a plane and just come out and visit us, at the Cliffs of Moher and write our novels from the cliffs. This is accessible. This is how this works. And she, from that point, from that very first point when the MLs and her, kind of had this, disagreement, her elbows were up from that point forward. So...
It's so hard. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion.
It really is.
It's like NaNoWriMo had so many wonderful things going for it.
I know. And a lot of the MLs have said this. They're like, they made the wrong decision at pretty much every turn. Like, it just got worse.
And I'm going to guess that the wrong decision was the opposite of whatever the MLs suggested.
Usually, yes.
Which, like, shout out to whoever the MLs were in NaNoWriMo. Like, the people like that who volunteer, because they didn't get paid, I'm guessing.
No, they never got paid.
If you volunteered ever for NaNoWriMo, like, shout out to you. Awesome work.
It was awesome.
Like,
and also, like, a ton of work. Like, at the end, it was basically a full-time job. And it's like these people are also working their jobs, or they are students,
right.
and they are juggling this and their family and everything else that we all do every day, and this other full-time job that they are not getting paid to do, working under Kilby Blades, who was a nightmare.
Yeah.
She way overstepped, apparently. She was a real micromanager, and she wanted to do things her way, and it was a lot of, like, back and forth, and a lot of questions going unanswered. Like, one of the MLs have talked about, like, these 3-hour-long conference calls where they would be like, hey, why are we changing this? Or what's going on with, like, our policies? Like, what are our policies in the forums? And Kilby Blades would just, like, talk about other things and, like, never answer the questions.
Gosh, man.
Just very difficult to work with.
And what's really heartbreaking about that is, like, these MLs are so passionate about it. The volunteers are so passionate about it. They want it to work. And nobody will listen to them. People, the powers that be, just won't listen.
No. And some of these people have been working with this organization for like 15 plus years.
Yeah.
And so Kilby Blades comes in, and a lot of the original MLs within the first few months leave.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Which is a huge loss of resources.
It is.
What a loss.
And I think it's important to say, it's not to be the person behind, like, the decision making on NaNoWriMo. It's not that you have to write novels.
No.
But you
don't.
should have people who have experience writing novels around you, so that when you're trying to make decisions, you can be informed on the decisions that you're making, right? It's like how the president has a cabinet of advisors. You want advisors who have very specific expertises that can lend themselves to your decision making, so that you're not just making blind decisions in the dark that could potentially ruin the company.
Yeah. And I don't understand Kilby Blade's, like, obsession with being completely private. It's like you're publishing books with and you're very proud to be such a public person.
Right.
Because you're bragging about, like, this 1 million readers who are reading my fan fiction and publishing books, and now I'm the face of this NaNoWriMo, like this new celebrated startup. It's like, you are a very public person. Why not be public?
Right.
I don't understand. There are writers, like Sally Rooney is a good example. Very private. She does not really talk about her life very much. Cillian Murphy, not to only stick to Ireland, but that's clearly where my heart lies. Is like, Cillian Murphy is, like, an actor, a famous person, at this point, a movie star. Hello, like Christopher Nolan movies. Like, you have, like, graduated to a new echelon of existence. But Cillian Murphy doesn't really talk about his personal life.
No.
A lot of movie stars have contracts with, like, journalists and deals where it's like, if you ask me about my personal life, I am going to get up and leave.
Yes.
Owen Wilson has that in his contract.
Does he
actually?
really?
He's like, I do not talk about my personal life. We can talk about the movie
Right.
all day.
When he's doing, like, the PR campaigns.
Yeah, but you're not going to ask me who I'm dating. You're not going to ask me where I'm living. You're not going to ask me how I'm feeling. Like, we're not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the project and the project alone. So you can be a public figure and still be private.
Right.
You can be a public figure and a private person at the same time.
It's possible.
But I think if you're, again, I really believe if you're running a company, you do not get to be private.
No.
I'm really against all these healthcare CEOs who pulled their profiles from the website. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no, you don't get to do that. I want to know who's directly responsible for denying my claim for insulin. I want to know that. I have a right to know that.
I think that's fair.
Thank you. So again, according to the municipal liaisons, one of the changes that Kilby Blades wanted to instate was that MLs could no longer speak in a language other than English within the forums.
One of our biggest difficulties was she presented us with the newest version of the municipal liaison agreement, which is basically our contract. But really, like, for the Quebec region, was a big problem was we were no longer able to translate the materials into the language of our participants.
Which is a major problem, considering this is an international organization.
Right. It spans 6 continents and multiple countries, a lot of which I'm assuming don't speak English as a first language.
Yes.
Why on earth would they make that kind of decision?
Because she was concerned that municipal liaisons would be talking to each other or with other participants, and she wouldn't be able to verify what they're saying. And apparently she was very, like, owl on the shoulder, like, I want to know what you're discussing.
But it's an international organization, so if people, that doesn't make any sense.
Use, I know, she said, tell them to use Google Translate. And it's all a trust thing. She's afraid that we're going to interpret it incorrectly, I guess, and pass it on falsely.
The MLs weren't supposed to translate any official communications from HQ, which is illegal in Canada. Official communications have to be in English and French in Canada, particularly in Quebec.
It's funny when you make everybody upset and you have nobody on your side. You're paranoid about people talking badly about you.
Why don't you trust people? I thought you were doing a really good job.
Right.
I thought you were a boss babe. What's wrong?
It's the Audra Winter thing all over again.
Okay, there was also, guess what? Because it's NaNoWriMo, it's time for another disastrous website update.
Oh boy.
So this one happened in 2019 and it made it virtually impossible to read, especially for people with visual impairments. There's actually one municipal liaison based in Dublin who was flat out fired because she couldn't read the site and therefore wasn't using it because she's legally blind.
Oh my God.
And she couldn't read the site because, again, you've got cream font on an eggshell background. And she was like, okay, I'm just going to ask another ML to do stuff like through the website and I'll focus on the forums and the other things like the emails and the outreach. I'll do that. And she got called in from executive teams and they were like, we're not asking you to come back to this volunteer position. And she was like, why on earth? Why? I love this. And they were like, well, you're not using the site enough. And she explained why. And they said, well, that's not really an excuse, is it? And she was like, the fact that I'm blind and can't read the site.
The poorly designed site that you guys have.
Wow.
It's the death knell of any volunteer organization. It's like when you start turning on your volunteers, things go poorly.
I'm going to need everybody to remember that this little thing happened with this blind ML because that is going to circle back around in a hot second here.
Oh boy.
So under Kilby Blade's direction, NaNoWriMo partnered with a software called Pro Writing Aid.
Okay.
I get emails from them every 60 seconds. I don't know how they got my email. I would like to unsubscribe forever, please. Thank you. Pro Writing Aid also uses AI throughout their software. And it used to outright say this on their website, but no more. There's no mention of AI software anywhere on their website, but that is what these programs are. I'm going to throw up some screen recordings that I made when I was researching this because that's AI. Everything they're using is AI.
Oh, and it's like it helps you with writing, or
they've
what's
got like grammar tools, sentence enhancers. They've got this thing called Sparks that you can use, which like you highlight a section and you click Sparks and it like brings in AI software to like rewrite the sentence for you to pick better words and things.
Gosh.
Which, as we know, the robots know the better words to use to express human emotion.
That's too bad.
Pathetic.
That's too bad.
So let's talk about AI. Because that was really the death knell for NaNoWriMo, which I think we all knew.
Yeah.
September of 2024. What were we doing in September of 2024? I was madly in love with you in September of 2024.
We had only recently fallen in love.
Yes.
What were we doing in September? I don't remember.
I know. I don't remember either. It's all a fog of pink cloud and heart eyes.
Probably roller skating, not enjoying the summer. The summer heat, I would
do
say.
think we were roller skating a lot at this time.
Oh, you know what? No, I went to, I was out of town. I was taking my nephew to Universal.
Oh.
That's right. Remember when I went out of town for a couple
God,
weeks?
that feels like a long time ago.
I know.
That feels like 10 years ago. Yeah, I was very in love with you at that time. Oh, how things have changed. So also what happens in September of 2024 is NaNoWriMo releases a statement regarding AI and its use in the challenges. Everybody, hold on to your butts, okay? Hold on to those butt cheeks. Quote, NaNoWriMo does not explicitly support any specific approach to writing, nor does it explicitly condemn any approach, including the use of AI. We also want to be clear in our belief that the categorical condemnation of artificial intelligence has classist and ableist undertones, and that questions around the use of AI tie to questions around privilege. Classism. Not all writers have the financial ability to hire humans to help at certain phases of their writing. For some writers, the decision to use AI is a practical, not an ideological one. The financial ability to engage a human for feedback and review assumes a level of privilege that not all community members possess. Ableism. Not all brains have same capabilities. That's not me misspeaking. That was literally in the NaNoWriMo email. Okay.
Oh boy.
Not all brains have same abilities. And not all writers function at the same level of education or proficiency in the language in which they are writing. Ironic for Kilby Blades to put out a statement saying this when the MLs are no longer allowed to speak any language other than English. That's interesting to say that. But yeah, some brains and ability levels require outside help or accommodations to achieve certain goals. The notion that all writers should be able to perform certain functions independently or is a position that we disagree with wholeheartedly. Again, these are typos that literally exist in the post.
That's not you. Yeah,
That's not me. Or is a position that we disagree with wholeheartedly. There is a wealth of reasons why individuals can't see the issues in their writing without help. For all of those reasons, we absolutely do not condemn AI, and we recognize and respect writers who believe that AI tools are right for them. End quote. Let's discuss that.
Yeah, because AI has been obviously a big topic of discussion in all aspects of life, but especially the art world.
Yeah.
Generally.
I am going to start this little discussion about AI with maybe a surprising statement, which is I don't believe that we can put it back.
No.
I'm seeing in my own feed and with my own friends, people that I collaborate with, this real push to like put AI back in the box and burn the box in the fireplace. That can't happen.
No.
It's the same thing with the internet, with cell phones, with the printing press. It's like, it's here now. The only thing we can do is adapt and figure out where it ought to go.
Yes.
Because the thing that we can't do is ignore that it's in the room, because then those flames are just going to engulf the house. We have to figure out
exactly
what we actually want to use it for.
Well, and this becomes the question of regulation. The only way you can regulate something is if you're looking at it and going, where does this belong? How do we use this thing?
Yeah.
Right. And
you have to get curious about it.
You have to get curious about it. And it's every time we invent a new technology, we don't know where the ethical line on the use of that technology is.
Yes.
And regulation and ethics are always catching up. They're never like preventative. They're always like trying to catch up to the thing. Yeah, reactive.
Which we're still figuring out the internet and where we want the internet to be. There's all this discussion right now about like ditching the smartphone and going for a dumb phone or a flip phone or going back to house phones. Because like it's not good for us to be on the internet all the time, for us to have access to each other all the time. We feel entitled to each other's attention. We feel entitled to each other's immediate reply. There's this real sense of immediacy with everything. It's like, I texted you. Why didn't you text back? And it's like, because I wasn't available, but you know that I have my phone on me, so you feel this need to like, I should be in communication with you at all times, which is not natural and it's not healthy. Also, what is the internet's role in education? Like, does a teacher have a right to confiscate or outright ban cell phones from their classroom?
Right.
Or does that infringe on a child's like right? Does that infringe on parental rights, on like parents deciding when their kids get cell phones or when they don't?
And that's the thing, these are questions to ask and to kind of be decided.
Yeah, but these are old conversations.
Very old conversations.
Like, we have been talking about that since the rise of the BlackBerry in like 89.
And we still don't have an answer.
So think about like the conversations we need to start having about AI. Because again, we were just talking about the government and how the government is so slow to regulate. And that's because it's top. Like when we talk about like federal law, that is like, we call it top brass, which sounds like very impressive.
Yeah.
You know that's not what I mean. I just mean that's like the top. It's hard to climb up that mountain. It has to start with tiny communities. Like, how are we going to treat AI? What are we going to use AI for? Do we want it to write our books, or do we want it to organize our spreadsheets? Do we want it to vacuum our floors, or do we want it to paint?
Yeah.
I think there's a clear line here. We human beings like are not built for administrative work. That's not what we were actually meant to do. We are meant to do so many other things. So if we can cut down on bureaucracy and on technical workarounds, that should be what AI is used for. There's also some talk about using AI in the medical field, which sounds very exciting, being able to detect cancer much earlier than like the human eye or human experiments, which is incredible. That's great. I love reading headlines like that. AI is very exciting. Do I need it to generate books? No.
I know. And there's a thing of people, I've heard that there's like a new wave of people who go onto things like ChatGPT and they generate stories for themselves to read. Not to publish, they just want to read it. Usually smut of some kind, or romance books, or new fantasy. They'll punch in certain genres or things they want, parameters. And it's like, that's such a shame, because you're not allowing yourself the ability to find new things.
There are so many books.
There's so many books in the world.
I promise you, someone has written the book that you are looking for.
Yeah.
You just have to find it. And if you can't find it, you should write it.
Yeah. I mean, it should come as no surprise to anybody watching. Like, Lindsey and I are not pro AI art.
No, I know right now it sounds like I'm pro AI because I'm like, look, we can't
No.
put it back. We got to find a way to work with it. No, like that being said, the basis of NaNoWriMo is to write 50,000 words over the course of 30 days.
Yeah.
If generative AI can spit out 50,000 words in 5 minutes, what is the point?
Exactly.
Like
Well,
using it like really undercuts the organization's entire mission statement.
it goes back to what we were talking about with Audra Winter, where for some reason, people who typically aren't creatively minded are putting objective value on things that are entirely subjective, right? The whole point of NaNoWriMo is to write 50,000 words. That doesn't mean that the goal is to just get 50,000 words on the page and they could be whatever. It's like, no, we have to move through the thing. It's like Audra Winter saying, well, I've got my 10,000 hours. I hit 10,000 hours and now I'm an expert in the thing. It's like, no, you're missing the point.
It's just like Ali Albazaz, that fucking loser we were just talking about with Inkit, where he's like, well, I just wish there was a way to psychically tell which book was going to be a bestseller, and then we could just jump on it and sell it and make a bunch of money that way. And it's like, yeah, wouldn't that be cute if you could do that?
Right.
But this is not an algorithm.
And that's the thing, to use AI, LLMs, whatever they are, to take away any ounce of creative input that an artist might have, it takes the soul out of the thing that's being made. Because the whole point of art, writing a book, making a painting, writing a movie, making a movie, anything like that, is to imbue something with a sense of who you are, a sense of your soul as an artist, and to try and connect with other people, right? And we've been doing that for literally generations. And to deny yourself that is such a shame. It really is such a shame.
We've been painting since we were living in caves.
Yeah,
I just don't know why you would want to pass that off to a robot and let them do it.
exactly.
I think AI raises the Incredibles question,
Okay.
which is like think about like Michael Phelps.
Okay.
He has some like genetic body advantages that make it almost unfair that he was allowed to participate in the Olympics.
Right.
Like his wingspan is longer than he is tall. Major advantage for a swimmer.
Huge.
He's double jointed in the ankles and in the elbows.
Oh, wow.
Major advantage. So he can move in ways that I literally can't. No amount of training or eating right is going to make me move like Michael Phelps because of the way that guy's built.
Sure.
But does that mean he shouldn't be allowed to compete in the Olympics? I don't think so,
Yeah.
but I don't know. So it raises the question of like, well, just because it's unfair to use AI, does that mean we shouldn't be allowed to use AI? My immediate gut instinct for NaNoWriMo is like, yes, that defeats literally the entire purpose, is to write 50,000 words of your novel.
Exactly. Here's the baseline example I think of. Helicopters exist. People still climb Mount Everest,
Oh, that's a really good example.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the point of the thing is not the end thing.
Yeah.
If you want to just get to the top of Mount Everest, take a helicopter to the top.
Yeah.
Take a look. Oh, wow, this is really cool. And then you fly down.
Yeah.
People still climb Mount Everest every year. And it's not because they just want to get to the top and look at it.
I think actually for Mount Everest, that is exactly what they want to
That's
do.
the end goal. But the whole
But yes,
point,
I get it.
it's the conquering of the human spirit and, that kind of thing, right? There's something about it. We have to define what the point of the thing is, right? We read books to connect with other people. We don't read books for the sake of just reading a story.
Yeah.
Television
is widely accessible, but people still go to see plays in theaters because it
Absolutely.
gives you something different. It's a human experience, like the exchange of energy between the audience and the performers. That's a thing you can't get watching TV or movies. It's just not the same.
No.
There's a camera and time and space in between both of you.
Right.
So as jarring as Cillian Murphy can be on screen, seeing him in person in a theater, very different experience.
It is. And that's the whole point, is that the human experience is about struggle and overcoming and defining things that mean something to us and creating within the metrics and the measures in life that we are given.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the beauty of human existence. And again, to engage with something that takes that away from you, to pass that off to something else to create for you on behalf of you, it's robbing you of the ability to be expressive and to give your humanity back to the world. It is such a shame, I think, to use AI in that way. But you're right. AI is here. We have to learn how to work with it.
Yeah.
And I find it really disheartening when a lot of these tech corporations are telling me, well, they look at writing and creating art as a problem to be solved.
Yes, they do.
It's an efficiency problem. It's not a creative problem.
Right.
You're struggling to write your book. Wouldn't it be great if something could just write that you've been wanting to write that novel for so long? Just punch it in and it'll write out the book that you've always wanted to write.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Pay us.
That's the thing. They are always guilty of typically creating a problem that doesn't exist and selling you the solution for it.
Yeah. And in doing that, they create 500 other problems that we have to figure out how to solve.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what AI
putting
has done.
fucking Lime scooters on the sidewalk.
I also wonder, like, what about community? Because, like, this whole thing, NaNoWriMo started off as 20 friends meeting up in a coffee shop to write the books that they've been wanting to write, hanging out together and becoming closer friends. And that's the whole point of NaNoWriMo. So is that really something that you want to pass off to a robot?
Chris Beatty must be so disappointed with the direction that the company took after he left.
I want to talk about that disability comment for a second.
Oh boy.
So I'm a disabled.
You are.
That's and I find this comment super condescending and performative. And I also don't believe you. Because once again, I need to point to the blind ML that you fired from their volunteer position because they couldn't read your poorly designed website.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about access. Any corporation who has ever talked about access, it's never about access. That's just a really easy thing for them to say because it's big and broad.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like something you can't argue with, where it's like, well, we have an accessibility issue and that's why we're choosing to use AI. Oh, no. You don't care about disabled people. You know how I know? Because nothing else in your corporate fucking structure says that you care about disabled people.
Yeah.
How many disabled people have you hired? You know how many screenwriters are currently working in the film and television industry in Los Angeles? 0%.
Who are disabled?
0% of disabled screenwriters are working right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? We're like the biggest minority in the country. You know a disabled person.
Yeah.
But
Everybody knows
we're
at least
not
one.
in writers' rooms. It's because like it's just too inconvenient to hire somebody. Like you have to make a little accommodations. You have to make a little bit more room at your table.
Yeah.
And these corporations are not willing to do that. It's never about access. Never believe a corporation that's telling you it's about access. I also wanted to say that like blind people write their own novels by like using like screen readers, which like some of that is AI. I think that's great. I think AI does make certain things more accessible, but disabled people don't need AI to write their own books for them. How condescending and gross is that? Well, you're disabled, so like maybe you want a robot to do that for you. No. I'm actually perfectly capable of figuring out a way to do it myself.
Right. You and I have talked about that. It's like there's a certain amount of condescension that comes from some people when it comes to talking about disabilities.
Yeah.
And they talk as if you're a child. They infantilize you a little bit, as if you can't help yourself.
There's this great stand-up comedian who has a joke that's like, the disability community is the only minority group you can join at any time. Drive your car a little too fast, he will be here for you in the morning.
Yeah.
You know? They always act like it's your fault. It's like, oh, that's right. I forgot when I took my own pancreas out and zapped it of its capabilities. But yeah, I just figure like if amputees can learn to play guitar, I think we can figure out how to write our own books. But thank you so much.
I know it's the hiding behind the kind of artifice of wanting to be inclusive or wanting to think of other people. When in reality, what they want to say is, this is good for our bottom line and that's why we're doing it. But they want to hide behind layers of obfuscation that make them look better.
I just want people to be honest about why they're doing the things that they're doing. I would respect, not even respect, I would still hate you, but I would at least respect the grind a little bit more if you just came forward and said, we really want to save money.
Yeah.
So we need to use AI because it will save us money. That's what we're doing. Just be honest about what you're doing. Also, like, how is AI legal? I'm still trying to figure out how generative AI is legal because one little heistman steals some jewels from the fucking Louvre and all of Europe is up in flames. But for some reason, overnight, Sam Altman was allowed to take all publicly available artworks, shove it into his ChatGPT, and become a billionaire from that.
Yeah.
And none of us get any work from that. We're actually having our electricity bills are actually going up because of those data centers that he's running out in the desert. Guantanamo Bay for this guy. Get out of here. Again, tech bro, like encroaching on like an artist's space and ruining it, making himself rich doing this in our faces, and then like turning around and condescendingly saying like, well, some people really need it. I am every day so grateful that I was not born a man because I would have the longest rap sheet. I would be in federal fucking prison if I was a man. If I could do a pull-up, so many people would be injured beyond recognition. It is a blessing that I can't do a push-up. I'm so grateful. Thank God. Thank God. Your dad was a professional hockey player. Thank God it was him and not me. I would be wielding that power evilly.
I know.
Wow.
What was that case? There's a case that happened recently where I think Meta got in trouble because they were feeding their own generative LLM that they were trying to create. They fed it like terabytes of books.
Yeah.
Terabytes of books. And I want to say the court kind of ruled against them a little bit. We'll have to post the actual article, but they got in trouble for that. And rightfully so.
I don't know how these generative AI models are legal because also let's talk about the art. Like all of those generative AI art things where you punch in a thing that's like, oh, I want a fairy woman with red hair who's thinly built and looks a little bit like Venus from Roman mythology. And then it spits out a beautiful image to you. That's all based on real artists' work.
Yeah.
And they're not making any money from that. The AI tech bros are making money from that. Somehow they have solved this. They've created a problem and then tried to solve the problem with their software and then become rich off of it.
Yeah.
Go into your bunkers and never come out. God, your bloodline needs to end.
So all's to say that now NaNoWriMo
is not condemning the use of AI.
In
fact, they are supporting it.
Yes.
And they're doing that because they took on another questionable sponsorship with Pro Writing Aid, which uses AI software.
Right. And I think it's important to say contextually, this comes at a time in the conversation of artificial intelligence when it was big and fiery, these conversations about.
Yeah, it was very new.
It was still really new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. So yeah, after this statement comes out, all hell breaks loose. Many authors who served on the writers' board or were otherwise affiliated with the organization resigned. A couple of sponsors started backing away and ended their relationship with NaNoWriMo, which for a nonprofit, that's a real death knell. Can't really afford to be doing that.
Yeah.
Also, mainstream news sites like The Atlantic and Washington Post and LitHub picked up the story, and things at NaNoWriMo headquarters really started to spin out of control. Lots of edits to that original post on Zendesk were made, probably because there were fucking typos in it. And lots of nonsensical follow-ups, deleting comments, random managerial meetings, etc. This is just like a company literally blowing up from the inside.
They're in tailspin and damage control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's November of 2024, and the challenge passes very quietly, actually. It happened. We participated in NaNoWriMo last year, kind of half-ass. I think I got 10,000 words done.
And I was working on set.
Yeah.
It was tough.
We both were a little busy though
Yeah.
last year. We're not making excuses. I just didn't.
The classic excuses.
Classic excuse. I was busy. Yeah, of course you were. But yeah, so a lot of the MLs were it was weirdly quiet last November.
Right.
And we all kind of knew we're reaching the end here. A lot of the big feeling with the municipal liaisons at this point was there's no coming back from this. So this is probably going to be the last year. And that turned out to be true. So, in March 2025, our friend Kilby sends an email to users saying the nonprofit is shutting down. The email stated in part, quote, "To our NaNoWriMo community, we come to you today with sad news. After 6 years of struggling to sustain itself financially, NaNoWriMo, the nonprofit, will begin the process of shutting down. In order to fully understand how we reached this decision and why we view it as the only alternative, we encourage you to watch this video about the state of NaNoWriMo. The video also contains some important acknowledgments and information about the logistics of our next step. The plot is thicker than you might think." And the linked video leads to a channel called NaNoWriMo Kilby.
Stop.
All of this feels so unofficial and strange. Sometimes I feel like I'm falling for a big conspiracy theory, but it's just this is where it exists. It's a massive Google Doc form where all the MLs have tracked the history of NaNoWriMo and the downfall, and then this random NaNoWriMo Kilby YouTube account with 60 subscribers, and I'm is this legitimate or was this just pumped out? I don't know. But the linked video leads to that channel, and Kilby apparently goes into detail about how the organization has fallen into debt and has become financially unsalvageable. She also states, quote, "This is a logical outcome of long-standing circumstances, not a salacious tale of scandal that can be blamed on child endangerment accusations or AI," unquote.
It sounds like it absolutely can be that.
I think all three things are true.
Blaming the community is a funny way to go about it.
Yeah, I don't think this went down because of community vitriol.
No.
I think the child endangerment and the AI and you being a bad manager all contributed to that. And I'm sure the organization was losing money. I'm also sure that's true. But in my opinion, all those things were working against you. So here's my conclusion.
Okay.
So, we find ourselves at the twilight of another October, and for the first time since 1999, there is no official place to gather and write novels, which I think is delightful. If you want to write a book, you can, and in fact, you should. You do not need a company coming in and telling you, hey, you know how it's really hard to write a book? We can solve that problem for you. Just hang out with us.
Yeah.
You can do that on your own time, anytime you want. There's no workaround. There's no big prep book that you need to buy, no website you need to create, t-shirt you need to design, planner you need to purchase, or software you need to download. You actually just need to do it.
Yeah.
You can actually just buy a notebook and start writing your book in an hour.
Don't buy courses from anybody who's selling you courses.
Oh my God. There are seemingly millions of people on YouTube and abroad who try to sell you their system. Want to avoid writer's block forever? Give me $20. Hate everything you've ever written down? Join my club for a small fee of, you don't need them. You do not need them. Writing is already the most accessible art form. Do not let anybody, especially someone with an AI headshot or a history in tech, tell you that you need them to do it. They are lying, and you are perfectly capable, and already, just by virtue of waking up this morning, a million miles ahead of artificial intelligence. I refuse to believe that a robot is our beginning, because it's never even seen a sunrise. It does not know what a beginning is, and therefore it cannot know what the middle is, and therefore it cannot struggle with the ending. It doesn't know anything.
A robot's incapable of having second act problems.
Yes. You have to do that, because you're the only one who can.
And whether that's fan fiction, novels, fantasy, romance, spec fiction, whatever it is, do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Whatever it is. If you're not having someone else do it for you, I think that's fantastic.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Fully in support. If it's fantasy, will I read it? No, I won't. But that's not a you problem. That's a me thing. I am genre phobic.
I'll probably read it.
Yeah. Connor will read it. If it's literary fiction about a sad woman, I'll read it. I volunteered to read it.
What a delightful little rabbit hole that was.
That was the downfall of NaNoWriMo.
Thank you for explaining that to me, girlfriend.
Yes.
No, I think that was a really, I didn't expect so much drama to come out of NaNoWriMo.
Me neither.
I thought it was just like oh no, it was a poorly run nonprofit.
Which it was.
Yeah.
Which it was. But unfortunately, in this online world, a poorly run nonprofit means AI and child endangerment.
Oh, gosh, that's such a shame.
Unbelievable.
Again, what do you think Chris Beatty, how do you think he's feeling at this point?
I think he feels fine. He's got his life. He's living in San Francisco. He's writing books. He's hanging out. I think he's got a kid.
Yeah.
I think it worked out for him.
Probably. He got out before the ship went down.
He did. He was like, you know what? I did that for 10 years or something, and it was really fun, and it was really awesome, and it, probably afforded him some cool opportunities.
Yeah.
And just moved on with his life. I think he's okay.
So I think you're probably right. I think the big thing from this is kind of what you talked about at the end, which is you don't need a tech company to do this.
You don't need anyone. Here's the thing. Here's something that bothers me. I'm noticing a trend on YouTube. A lot of these self-help or self-improvement or creative people come forward and they're like, here's the software that I use and here's how I organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's you need to download this, and then when you're researching a subject, you go into this software and you type in this idea, and then it will automatically organize this index card for you. And then you can open up your notebook, because it's important to engage with physical media too. And then you write this down, and then you can take a photo of it, and then the software will update it, and then you can open up Obsidian. And this is just a way to procrastinate. Yeah. That's all this is. You're procrastinating writing, which is the most writer thing to do, by the way.
At a certain point, planning is procrastinating.
If I ever want to clean my house, I just open up a Google document. That is a thing I do to trick myself into doing the dishes I don't want to do, or to reorganize my bathroom. I just open up Google document. I'm like, okay, well, you got to write for an hour then. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go scrub my shower.
Yeah.
I would literally rather pull the bugs out of my drain than write. And I'm a professional writer.
Yeah.
It's my thing that I love to do most in the world, and I procrastinate it every single day of my life.
Right.
I don't know why. It's just a thing that we do.
It is
as
such a common thing
know.
that writers hate starting to write.
So you don't need to watch any more videos being like, here's how you properly outline. You need to steal my system. Here's how you organize. Here's the software you need. You don't need any of it. Writing is already the most accessible thing that you can do. It's the most accessible art form. You just need a pen and paper. You don't even need a laptop. You know how few things in this world don't require a laptop? You can do it. If you want Don Draper to kiss Superman, you can make that happen.
You can make that happen. Here's the thing. I think we talked about it earlier, but one of the biggest pieces of loss that occurs with NaNoWriMo disappearing is that thing that we talked about, which is it's giving people permission to do the thing they've secretly been wanting to do.
Yes.
And I think it's a shame that there's no resource for that now. So if anybody's watching this this is us giving you permission to do that. Like,
Yes.
I think if you want to write something, if you want to make something, if you want to make a film, if you want to make a book, if you want to paint a painting, like, do that. You don't need anybody else's permission, especially not a tech company, to tell you that you can.
Don't let the tech companies tell you anything. In
And-
fact, anytime a tech
yeah.
company tells you something, I want you to write it down and be like, that is going to be a headline in 1 month.
Right.
Bet with your friends. You'll make so much money.
The thing to hold on to from NaNoWriMo, to me, out of this whole story, is that it started with a group of friends who just wanted a place where they could show each other what they were doing and keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
To spend time with each other working on the thing they've always wanted to do.
Because creative people do need structure.
They do.
It's really impossible to sit down in front of a blank Google Doc and be like, all right, I can do anything.
Yeah.
You'll just stand there forever.
You will.
You'll look at that blank document blinking at you and you won't do anything. So I think NaNoWriMo also provided a really important structure for creative people.
It did.
To be like, okay, 50,000 words by the end of November.
Yeah.
I got to make that happen. That's a really good structure, but you can give that to yourself. And if you
can.
need somebody else to hold you accountable, you can start that with your own friends
You
or
can.
with other people online. If you're over 18, if you're under 18, get off the internet. Go home.
Yeah. But that's what you and I did last year. We kind of kept ourselves accountable to each other. We would,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, at the end of the week, we go, okay, how much did you write this week? You know?
We shared a document too where you could track like how many words you got done
Yeah,
and how
we
you
did.
did that day. It was really nice.
It was great.
So I'm excited to do it again this year.
So am I. And that's the other thing. I think we're planning on doing NaNoWriMo again, just unofficially.
Yeah. So we'll hold you accountable.
We will hold you accountable.
Do it, loser. You
And
won't.
that's a threat.
Yeah.
Lindsey, thank you so much for sharing all this information with me and with the people who are at home watching this.
Of course.
This
I'm
is-
Lindsey.
And I'm Connor.
And I told you this would be me explaining things.
Yes, that's our other outro.
I'm so used to the podcast
I know.
outro.
Thank you for explaining this to me. I feel wiser, potentially, more angry and bitter.
Oh God, I'm tense. I need to go for a run or something.
But that was a good amount of information. And I'm so thankful for all the research you did on this.
Thank you very much.
If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, leave a comment. We love reading all your comments. We like engaging with people who comment.
I love seeing who's here.
If you've worked for NaNoWriMo, we want to hear from you.
Leave your experiences down below.
Absolutely.
I beg of thee.
Any positive stories you have about you participating in NaNoWriMo, we also would love to hear about.
Yeah, I'm in that rabbit hole. So you guys
Absolutely.
know. And we're coming up on November, so now's the time.
Yeah.
Let's tell horror stories to each other.
Horror stories, or like tell us your plan for NaNoWriMo. We want to hear that too.
Yeah.
Community. That's a big part of like why we want to do this.
It is.
Anyway, I think I'll see you next week.
I'll see you in 2 seconds.
Bye, everybody.